Greetings, everyone. And welcome to a vaguely horrific episode of Monster Party.
Monster Party!
Monster Party.
Monstrous Party!
Monster Party it is. And guess what?
What?
I'm Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Stroth.
And I'm James GONIS.
And boy, do we have a show for you.
This is kind of a nutty one.
This
Kinda
came
wacky.
from the crazy brain of Shawn Sheridan. His
And his new liver.
In one of my
liver
feverish states.
vomiting up ideas into his body.
Yes. It was my liver talking.
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
But this is a great one. I love this because the topic is called Should Have Been a Horror Film.
Should have been a horror film!
You mean like Exorcist 2? It just didn't try hard enough?
Yeah.
Good try, but no.
No.
What this
Yes,
topic
please
the
explain this
topic
concept
is,
here.
You have a movie that's like a mainstream movie. Maybe it's a family movie. It's certainly not a horror movie.
Right.
And what we do is we take that movie, that title of that movie,
Yeah.
maybe even the basic plot line of that movie,
Yeah.
and we give it a little twist,
A little twist.
and we make it into a horror film.
Yeah, because there could be elements of the movie that like have the potential
Sure,
to be a horror.
lend
like,
itself.
certain movies I see like, oh wait, this could be a horror film.
Yeah, it's
you know?
like a couple little tweaks, and
Right.
you got a horror film.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, and so that's what we're gonna do.
Okay.
And we each have our lists.
Well, to do this, we need someone who's very creative.
Oh
right.
man,
Yes.
we got a
Clever and quick.
creative, clever,
what a
quick,
segue.
funny.
What a segue.
Yeah, oh man, no, our segues are like anvils in a cartoon. Yeah.
Are you saying that we've got the perfect creative
Oh my God,
guest?
yeah. Talk about a guy, and I mean this sincerely, who is always great. Seriously, in everything I've ever seen him do, I enjoy it. He's done just a million commercials.
He's
been
funny.
in all kinds of improv type shows. He's in your daughter's favorite show, Dog with a Blog
on the Disney Channel.
Yeah.
Oh my
Ladies
God.
and gentlemen, Regan Burns.
Regan Burns!
Welcome.
Stop.
He's applauding himself. I love that. I love that kind of
Yeah, you like
Hollywood
that?
star.
I'm like, I know we got to get some more sound effects in there. So, what I love is that it sounds like you're almost over the top with your enthusiasm for me being here, being in your daughter's favorite show.
Yes.
but this is real because you were like this 5 minutes ago.
I've been talking
Yeah, so
and
it's like if it sounds fake, it's no. I think this guy
and not
really
only
loves me.
People don't believe it. They really don't.
No, to honor you, I actually brought something from home. That,
Oh, no.
To me,
Oh, my
it's-
Oh, he's got a
I
stand
missed the
dog.
dog.
It's a
Hey,
stand
look,
dog.
This is
Wait
a
a minute.
dog.
Wait a
It's a
minute.
stuffed
listeners-
toy dog
yes, now-
from the show.
Yes, now for listeners
the
who
show.
don't know, Dog with the Blog, because it's kind of
It's about
kind
a dog with a blog.
Yeah, yes, but he belong. It's like, how is this? Is this like some scientifically experimented dog?
Could have been a horror film.
It's on my list. It's on my list. But it's like he lives with this family. He lives with this wacky family.
Yes.
And Regan plays the dad.
I'm the wacky dad.
Wacky dad.
Dad. And
Yeah.
and he's supposed to be a smart guy, but apparently the parents don't realize that this dog can talk.
They're always the
it's-
last to know.
It's not like we don't realize it. He won't talk around us.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You're totally missing the concept.
like Mr. Ed, right? Mr. Ed.
I've only
Mr. Ed
watched it
kind
for
of.
all
Did Mr.
3
Ed only
seasons.
talk around
I think
certain
so.
people?
Wilbur.
I think
Wilbur.
you're right.
Right?
Yes.
Wilbur,
Yeah, I think
Only
so.
Wilbur.
It's a sitcom standard.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Now, I just want to say there is a really funny episode where Stan the dog dresses up in a Halloween costume, and you can't tell that he's a dog inside, and he has conversations.
He's a robot.
Yeah,
He's a robot.
and it's
yeah.
Cool.
And that was actually one of my favorite episodes.
That was
Just-
one- He's had 4 favorites so far. For anyone keeping track since I've walked in.
I've watched a lot of horror films, and that description just chilled me to the bone. Like every party I go
Yeah.
to now, I'm going to
Yeah.
expect it. There's a dog in there, isn't there?
It's probably not the same demo that most of your listeners are used to.
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
I don't
no,
know.
no.
We from
Yeah, you
all
never know.
ages and
Look,
tastes.
yes, and look, I don't want to go out on a limb and say Dog with a Blog is the greatest thing on television.
But let's say that.
No.
Yeah.
But if you are between the ages of like 7 and 10,
Yeah,
Or
that's the
something, you know?
wheelhouse.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Or
You
a
know,
35-year-old man living alone at home. we've had
With a dog.
I've had that. I've had guys.
Are you serious?
I've had grown men and women who will come up and they'll go, "Oh, I absolutely love your show," and then I go, "Oh, that's great. How old are your kids?" And they go, "I don't have kids." You're like, okay.
You do know there are other shows. Yeah. Right?
right.
Well, it's
Does
funny.
anyone ever send you slash fiction or anything of like?
Yeah. Oh my God, that would be great.
Well, Regan, we are so honored to have you.
Yes, we
are.
And
Thank you.
like-
I'm honored to be here. This is my wheelhouse right here.
But this
movies
is-
and scary movies.
And I
was gonna
was,
say,
I
you-
was on Regan's podcast, Critically Yours.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
He was,
By the
in
way,
fact, Matt was on the flagship episode.
the first one.
Yeah,
Yes.
with Rick Overton and
Nice.
yeah.
Another
we're-
previous guest.
Did you
Yes.
did you plug Monster Party while you were there?
Of course.
Yes, he
All
did,
right. Okay.
and he plugged all your names as well. Like he wanted to make sure he's like, make sure I
I
get my
actually,
voice.
for the first time, I remembered everybody.
I was like, I have one guy in there. He's like, he had a crew of like 9 names. I'm like, good lord, this must be a big show. And now I'm here, and it's not as
We have-
overwhelming as I
we
thought it
have
was gonna
dancers that are coming in mid-show.
You just wait. But this is okay. So we got our creative guest. We've got this creative, freaky topic.
Yes.
How do you want to start here, buddy?
I think our guest should start.
Let's do that.
Well, now,
Let's try
but
that.
I don't even know the rules.
Yeah,
I mean, how does
Well,
this
see,
work?
okay,
How-
here's
what's
the thing:
how's
is that
this-
the rules are kind of like there are no rules.
no.
Shut, just wait a minute. Let me finish. So the idea is, initially we thought what we do is we describe the scenario.
Okay.
And then we guess.
Oh, well, that's
And we
could
can do that.
We could try.
And we
that.
can do that. But what I'm saying is, some of them, right off the bat, you're going to know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
some
me
you're
too.
gonna
Like,
know.
I'm just going to say what it is. It's a popular movie, and I'm going to say, but it can be a
We're
horror
all
film.
film fans. We're probably
Yeah.
Right.
So I say whatever you want to do with it. But
Okay.
if you decide you've got something that maybe like, okay, maybe I can fool them a little bit.
Oh, I
And
know.
I'll describe it, and then we'll guess. We can do that.
Are we recording the pre-production meeting for the podcast, or are we?
Yes.
BTS.
You know what? I
Well,
just
I tell you what-
decided that this is not going to work.
Okay, look. How about this? Instead of like throwing our guest under the bus, why don't we have the guy who came up with the concept to start,
Okay,
and then we
sure,
kind of
sure.
get the feel here.
I'll get the feel, and then
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
and
do
then,
what I
and
have.
then you're a
Okay.
sharp guy. You can
Yeah,
pick,
I'll go with
go
the
with the
flow.
flow.
Yeah,
You try to honor someone.
Yeah, all
and
right.
it just goes right back in your face.
Okay.
All right.
All right, I'm going to go with a film that is a very well-known film
Okay.
from 1990. And if you think about it, this has elements of horror. And that would be 1990's film by Chris Columbus, Home Alone.
Oh.
Well, you know, that's a great one. That's a great one because I've actually read some things where that what you get if you extrapolate where he goes in his life.
Right.
He's a serial
right.
killer.
Well, I mean, we all know the basic idea that it's Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay who?
Macaulay Culkin is
With meaning.
is Kevin, who is in this, he's in this family with Catherine O'Hara and her husband, and they're in a rush to leave for a vacation, and they leave him at home. And meanwhile, there are these wacky pair of burglars who are trying to get into his house.
Wacky burglars.
It's very wacky. So, and of course, and he sets up all these booby traps, and it's this very kind of broad comedy film. But if you look at it from a more like kind of sinister and realistic point of view,
Yeah? What do you
well,
got?
Realistic for me. What if Kevin was like a bad seed type of child?
Oh,
I would argue
like-
that he already is.
Yeah,
but,
but,
go
but
ahead.
like
No way.
a super like sociopath kind of kid.
Sure.
And he finds out that he's alone, and which he loves. And when he finds out that these burglars are trying to get in, he relishes the idea of like doing this cat and mouse game with them. But of course, he's also kind of like a little bit of a science genius, so he rigs all these kind of Saw style
Yeah, I was gonna
booby
say.
traps.
Yeah, I was saying, yeah.
Pesci and Daniel
and
Stern,
Daniel Stern.
across a room,
But
chained
like- but-
together.
right,
They've got a
with,
weird cage on their head.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
rats or-
With a saw angle, so it's like super
Yeah.
grotesque, and he captures them and just tortures them for days. you
I
know?
like it.
And
Was it still Christmas though? Is it
course,
still a Christmas?
yes.
Oh, yeah.
yes,
It has to be Christmas.
Yeah.
I need a Christmas
It's
movie.
Christmas.
Right,
movie.
exactly. So it's like this horrible, torturous kind of thing for these guys, and they're just about to be killed by Kevin, and then Kevin's parents come home, and they're like, "Oh God, thank you, get us out of this." And then, but the parents are like, "Hey, Kevin, good job! You caught another one." And they open the basement,
That's the twist.
and there's like all these like withered, decayed bodies of. They're like a family out of like
Texas Chainsaw,
or like out of
cleaned up.
Yeah, but like or like out of a Rob Zombie movie, you know,
Yeah.
they're like
Oh, sure, right.
super disturbed kind of like family that they do this for a living. They encourage Kevin to be creative and do this stuff.
I like it.
So like they kill Pesci and Stern and add him to the collection.
Well, Pesci and Stern deserve it because if they're stupid enough to try to break into a house, they know that someone's already in there.
Right,
That was always
exactly.
a big problem for me with that movie.
That's true. You're right.
My biggest problem is that somehow they hook up with him again in New York. Like, can we make the second one a horror?
That's right.
Like,
Yeah,
how
that's
do
right.
we take the Saw family from Home Alone and move them
Right.
to like? Do they get a penthouse where they take out?
Yeah, maybe. Or
Well,
something.
New
does
York
the sequel then
Or
pick
no-
up with the cops get there just in time, and so Pesci and what's his face are
Stern
are saved, and
yeah, maybe.
But then the family cannot give up. These are the ones that got away.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like a
yeah.
compulsive thing they have.
Yeah,
to
So
do.
they have to
they
track 'em
show
down.
up again in New York. That's
Right.
where they and
Right,
new
right.
identities.
That makes more sense,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
See, I'm thinking ahead of the game. I mean, I love your
Right.
story, but we have to think, where does Home Alone 2 go?
Right, that's true.
This is the type of notes that you would get if you were at a
But-
pitch meeting.
and
That's
also,
I was gonna say he'd be great in a pitch meeting.
But also, I thought about-
You are
I could
really
sell the shit.
good.
Any of these. I'll sell all these. I hope you guys copyrighted all this shit because
No,
the best one I'm taking to Paramount.
No,
tomorrow.
I think this is a genius idea. I mean, mine are like crap compared to you.
but also because I thought about a movie that Macaulay Culkin did called The Good Son, where he
Yeah.
kind of plays
right,
he plays a sociopath,
Yeah.
bad seed kind of kid. So it's like that kind of character.
That's
but
kind of fun,
in Home
that
Alone.
movie.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
fun.
Yeah.
So I think that
Elijah
I think
Wood.
that could work.
Yeah.
He tormented Elijah.
Good,
Wood.
Yeah, yeah.
disposable horror fun.
So yeah, so
that one.
that's my take on.
That's
on
a
Home
good one.
Alone.
That is a good
That's a good one.
Hey, I'm just curious. Does anyone else have
Home Alone.
no John Hughes films?
No.
in their,
No,
No.
No.
because I think almost any John Hughes film could be turned into a horror.
that's true. The Breakfast Club.
Ferris Bueller definitely sociopath.
We've mentioned this before.
Breakfast
Right.
Club.
They're stuck. They're
Well,
like
so many
stuck
of his
in the
films are
place.
about awkward kids that are kind of on the outs
Right.
with the social norms, and
Right,
those are the
right.
ones that would tend to turn into a Henry Portrait of the Serial Killer type of
Exactly.
Well, you see,
the outcast. You know, I mean,
Matt kind of bags on Ferris Bueller. I think he's a neat guy. He's like, I want to
neat
hang out with
guy.
him.
Righteous dude.
Yeah, he is. He's a neat guy.
I don't know. All
do you
these
think
people.
that comes from his jealousy of Ferris? Like, is he one of
It's-
those? Like,
it's-
do you hate Ferris?
That's
because
exactly it.
it's-
Because I want to be him.
I see. That's just yes. You
I do.
You were
Yeah.
a poor Ferris back in the
The
day.
minute I saw that little rig that he had, where he had a little dummy of him
Yeah.
in the bed, I was
Sits
like,
up.
God, I want to be you.
You wanna be
I want to be in you.
See, what's funny is if you listen to previous shows, you learn that like Matt dealt with dummies. He built a dummy, but it wasn't quite like
wasn't
Ferris
quite the
Bueller.
same.
Lead
you know?
me right into
it's
that.
It's like there's certain things that Ferris had. Matt tried to get there and didn't quite get there. So
He jumped into a parade and grabbed a microphone from the mayor.
And that was just attacked.
He just got arrested. He's trying to sing Donkey Shane. He's gonna win.
Pummeled by the crowd.
He got the shit kicked out of him. So yeah. So I understand, but I never was that adventurous like Ferris Bueller. But I loved him.
Okay.
But,
Well, that's
no.
a good way to get us going.
okay. So
Sean.
Sean did his. Matt, do you want to throw us
No,
one?
I think we should do this like round.
No.
the way we're going. No, you don't want to do it?
No, I didn't say I didn't want to do it. I just
I'll
that's
go.
a really okay.
All right,
Hey,
he's ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so let's see if you can figure out which one it is. I don't know if I did this a little bit differently. than
Okay,
you. Let's see.
okay.
You'll probably know it right away. Elizabeth Gilbert is coming out of an abusive relationship and has a bone to pick with men. So she sets out on a worldwide tour of murder. She picks up and drugs her male victims at nightclubs around the world, where she then eats one of their body parts, prays to Satan in a ritual with the man, and then fucks their dead corpse. Only Spanish detective Javier Bardem can stop her. But will he make it in time before Elizabeth decides it's time to once again eat, pray, E-Y, love?
Nice.
Eat, pray, love. What do you think of that? Did I get kind of the gist of it? I mean,
absolutely.
yeah.
On the,
You
like,
know
what if instead
Nail
of
on the head.
Julia Roberts going around the world to find herself, she was going around in the world to literally eat, pray to Satan,
Wow.
and then have,
See, you know what?
and then have
Okay.
sex with her dead victim.
And to
Again,
stay immortal and keep kind of living
Yeah,
off
but
that
she
life
had to.
force.
Maybe she had to.
on
Yes.
one
Right,
hand, you think, oh, maybe ridiculous, but you know what? You've got something. If
Maybe
you,
ridiculous.
No, Regan,
It's
if you
completely preposterous.
no, if you had a great cast, if you had two actors who were committed,
like
who,
the actors in the original film.
Julia
Oh, come on.
Roberts.
If
and
Julia
Javier
Roberts
Bardem.
did a role like that now,
Yeah.
it would be totally
It'd be like
reboot.
a black. Remember, there was like lady killer movies back in the day. Like you had like Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
Yeah, Black
Right.
Widow.
Black
Black
Widow.
Widow. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what if
That's
this
right.
was Eat, Pray, Love, where she was like a Hannibal Lecter? She literally
Yeah,
went
a
out,
female.
got a man to preyed on them, got them to love her, and then she ate them.
She will eventually do this film.
She will.
She will.
will.
We
you know,
know
what?
that- yeah.
I think we should give her a call. You know, maybe you know
'Cause
you
that'll
could,
go
you
well.
could throw the pitch
She
out.
did. What horror movie did she did? Did she do a Jekyll and Hyde?
She did.
Yes,
yeah.
it was.
What's
She
that?
she was the
Mary Riley.
maid.
Mary
Yeah,
Riley.
yeah,
She did
Mary
Mary
Riley.
Riley.
Yeah,
I think
it
that's
was-
been her
but
only dabble
Yeah,
into
dabble.
horror.
It was like
right?
tepid kind
And it
of
was- it
like
wasn't
the
even-
mystery.
Did she do
yeah.
Flatliners? What?
Is
or-
that
Oh yeah,
horror?
she did.
Would we
well,
call
that's
that
kind of fantasy horror.
suspense? I would
Yeah.
call it suspenseful
Yeah.
sci-fi.
Right.
Only the title would have to be Pray, Love, Eat, I think, in this case.
Yeah, maybe
If
we'd
you're
have
going
to.
in order.
That's
yeah. true. We pray to them. Well, no, maybe she would love them.
No,
Then
see,
she would. What would she do?
I like the initial way that you pitched it because
Eat, pray,
that-
love.
eat, pray, love because love is the overarching emotion.
Yes.
She loves Satan.
Yeah.
She loves eating.
That's true.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it
So it's all
works.
about love.
Yeah, it's all about love.
I just picture the finale where she's got like pieces of carnage and man meat hanging out of her bloody mouth, and Javier Bardem has a gun to her, and he's kind of in love with her too.
Yeah,
Right.
but he's got
Right.
to
He's,
stop
like,
the
obsessed.
cycle. Stop the cycle.
But you know, you make it sound. I don't know if you have to be quite, the piece of meat. I think you could do it in a tasteful
Classy. You
way.
want
I don't want it. I don't want it classy
No,
at
I
all.
think you go.
No, I
you want
well,
the Julia Roberts cannibal movie to be a little bit
Well,
classier than that?
well, she doesn't have to have. Well, she doesn't have to have a big piece of like liver, coming out of her
Okay,
mouth.
So you're going a little more Silence of the Lambs. It's a little more.
What if it's a different cut of meat instead of the liver,
Right.
not the liver? Yeah,
the spleen?
Pancreas.
Okay,
All right. Well, that's
I like
my
that.
sold.
That
I'm buying
was
it.
awesome.
Have I
Very
got the
cool. I'm
gist
buying
of the
it.
game?
Oh,
Am I-
yes,
yes, you
am I-
have.
Can I
I'm-
stay?
I'm,
Am I
I'm
allowed
glad
to stay?
somebody does.
All
That's
right.
good.
So, do you want me to go next? or-
Yes,
next?
yes, I
Okay,
do.
all right, okay.
Yes, I do.
All right, so get this. An old mountain hermit lives off the land. He bothers no one, basically keeping to himself. His only friends are the wild animals near his cabin. But when one of them dies, he keeps their memory alive with the art of taxidermy. His life is peaceful and serene until 7 douchey hillbillies and their wives build a cabin not far from his. Disgusted by the hermit, the brothers and their brides decide to engage in a campaign of harassment to push the old hermit off his land. They kill his animal friends, they stage grotesque musical numbers at all hours, and eventually attack his cabin. After shooting him and leaving him for dead, the old hermit survives his wounds and embarks on a plan for revenge. He ambushes each brother and bride in various ways,
okay.
brings them to his
I
cabin,
got it.
renders them unconscious, and gets out his taxidermy tools. When the brides and brothers wake up, they discover, to their horror, that they have been sewn together ass to mouth, boy to girl.
Of course.
The old hermit tells them if they can make it out of bear country alive, he'll separate them. The bears, of course, immediately attack and proceed to tear each bride and brother from their human centipede until there's only one left.
Wow.
God help him. 7 brides for 7 brothers.
Oh my god!
Does it end with a musical number?
It has to be.
It has to
Sure.
end with a
It
musical
has
It's going
number.
to end with a musical because I see a scene with them all sewn together with the guy at the front singing, but you can hear the harmony of everybody else who's been sewn ass to mouth kind of singing along.
Does each bride get sewn to their equal groom? Or is it like groom, bride,
the-
bride? Is it groom, bride?
Look,
How is
the
this
guy, look, the guy's not sick.
He's not sick.
He honors
He
the institution
honors-
of marriage.
So he puts each couple together
Exactly,
in the line. Okay,
yeah.
that's good.
So, they're all together. They're one family unit. And honestly, it's the 7 brides Seven Brothers film I've been waiting for my entire life.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, but and if you got any notes, because I still think I do want to have musical numbers all the way through, but the musical numbers are meant to be annoying to this old man.
Yeah, I think you have to honor the tradition of the musical.
You have to
somehow
have music.
Yeah.
It has to be a musical.
or at least Phil Collins has to do a theme song to it or something. It plays over the credits.
Now wait a
There
minute.
has to
Now
be
you're not knocking Phil Collins, are you?
No,
Yeah.
he
Okay. Come
he should
on.
have he should have a
Against
song
all
in every
odds.
movie.
Hello. Yes.
Every movie. But it has to have music.
I think it should have music. Lots of names, though. A good opportunity to have just wall-to-wall names.
That's a lot.
Right,
That's a
right.
big budget film because you've got that's 14 lead actors.
yeah.
Plus the Hermit.
And the Hermit.
And the Hermit.
The Hermit I see as maybe like the last role that Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman out of retirement for this one.
It's like this lands on his door and he's just like, okay, I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in. He's just drunk one night.
Because if
he's
you
like,
didn't write this, I was going to write it myself.
So it's 7 brides, 7 brothers, 1 centipede.
One second.
Nice.
That's the tagline.
Wow.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. See, now we're working together.
Yeah.
Wow.
It doesn't have to be a competition.
You make it good. We make it better.
Thank you.
That's a
Thank
I mean,
you.
you guys went all out with the little introductions of each of these.
Well, we're selling it. This is
I
a pitch.
tell
This
ya.
is how you.
Yeah, well,
Matt and I have been in important rooms.
Right.
You know?
Well,
And God forbid we do a good show. Wow. All
I'm
right.
complimenting you.
Okay, thank you, Larry.
I think you guys are wonderful.
Okay,
These
Larry-
are all great.
So we've teed it up for you.
Larry is.
I'm not next.
He's
James is
scribbling.
next.
Why is James next?
Because he's
we're going
Does James want to go next?
Well, if we're going counterclockwise.
Okay,
I'll
that's
go
how
next.
we're going to do it then.
All right. So far.
No one can see us. They don't know that it's counterclockwise.
Oh, you know what? Larry's next, actually. Okay. Tough act to follow.
It is. That's
Yes,
why I want
it
to
is.
follow you. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, by the way, I just want to point out what James likes to do is he hides his notes.
Yeah, I noticed that. Did he think we were going to
He
steal
thinks
them?
he thinks we're going to steal them.
Oh, I can't figure this out.
You're not going to take my Jean-Claude Van Damme hard target scenario over my dead body.
You saw my notes?
Yeah.
I went to grade school, okay? I know how this.
All right.
I went to grade school.
we all went to grade school. We all did.
Apparently, he
What
was
does
not
that-
progressed.
What does that
beyond that.
mean? What does that mean? Oh
my Lord.
Can I just say one thing? One thing. I
Just
thought
one.
I thought we were friends. I thought we were friends. What makes you think that I'm going to look at your notes and go, "Ooh, James wrote this. Oh, let me write that down." I mean,
As a good friend, I wouldn't want to tempt you to look at my notes.
We should do an episode
James,
where
I
all we
can't-
do is steal from James's notes.
James, I can't even read your freaking chicken scratch.
You tried.
My next,
No,
my next movie is 6 Brides for 6 Brothers. That just came to me.
All right, just go, James.
All right,
Come on.
go.
Oh. A lonely, middle-aged alcoholic coerces a 12-year-old girl.
What are you trying to say?
Coerces a 12-year-old girl to join the Little League team he coaches, which is made up of racist bullies and sociopaths. The boys shun the girl until she earns their respect as a Satan-worshipping murderer, leading them on a killing spree of ritual sacrifices.
There's a lot of ritual sacrifices so
There's
far.
more coming.
Yeah.
Yes, there are.
And I count 2 sociopaths.
In the name of the film.
Is this the Bad News Bears?
It is the Bad News Bears. And the title doesn't have to change. They're still pretty bad news.
Right.
Really
Okay.
bad news.
Right.
Yeah.
I like this.
It's got, you know,
I love, first of all, I love killer kids, and I like them in a group.
Yeah, that's true.
When it's just one, okay, one is bound to go bad, but when you
Yeah.
get a pack,
You got
Yeah.
you
Really
children in the
scary.
corn. You need a town
Right.
of them.
You
Yeah,
need a whole
or Village
town
of the
them.
Damned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I do like the girl ringer coming in, because it's not just baseball now. It's
Right,
a totally different league.
And I can actually see Tatum O'Neal playing the part of the
She would be
in the
good.
horror version as well.
Yeah.
She never did a horror film, did she? Tatum O'Neal?
I don't know.
She didn't do too many films to begin with.
That's true.
Yeah, I
but
don't-
she would have
I don't
been
know.
good.
Oh, yeah.
Is she still alive?
Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah.
We should get her and Gene Hackman out of
Yes.
retirement. I love that.
Thank you very much.
But what about this next one, Bad News Bears in Breaking Training? And the next one, Bad News Bears Go to Japan with Tony
Right.
Curtis.
Right.
How do you look at those for the horror ones?
Hey, how
Keep
do
it going. Keep it going.
So how do they stay together over all of this horrendous, mayhem that they're involved with.
Well, crimes like that keep people together. They got away with it in the first couple of movies. And
you may have just saved my marriage. All right.
All right.
Well done,
I like
sir.
that.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
All right. Well,
What is your problem?
We're going counterclockwise.
I know. I know. Well, I have to go.
Go. You have to go.
My thought was this.
What did you think?
We had it. It should have been a horror film. Mine could have been a horror film, but
That completely changes.
That can work.
Yeah.
And I don't have mine typed out or written out quite like James.
Well,
so-
just go riff,
okay.
man.
All right. A large family living in Germany in the late 1930s
Already great.
has difficulty holding on to their governesses. So the father decides to try to keep his kids in line and contacts the local convent to see if they can get some kind of nun to get these kids into shape. Well, they bring in this woman who not only can sing well, but she also loves to practice science and lobotomies.
Throwing the lobotomy.
So these kids that she likes at first all try to wreak havoc, and so she performs lobotomies on each kid, kind of making them like mindless drone zombie kids. And
Still with music?
and it's still with music, because now they kind of have a blank stare and they're all singing, and for some reason the father said, "This is great. You're taking care of the kids," but all of a sudden those fiendish Nazis come in and they want to take over the house. So invite them over and they
get lobotomies
yes,
too.
they do. And
nice.
so creating not only a bunch of singing zombie lobotomized children, but also some singing lobotomized Nazis. So what movie could this possibly be?
Let me ask you this. Are the hills alive or do the hills have eyes?
You're so good. Yes, I'm talking about the
Give him
classic
an
one
extra
from the
$1.
60s, The Sound of Music.
Sound of music, yeah.
And I love that film. I really do. And
Why? Do you really?
I do. I really love that
Wow.
film. But what's funny? I was thinking about this when Sean threw out this nutty concept, and I was thinking about this. My wife and I had like a little joke about, the Von Trapp family and how when they're all singing the wonderful Do-Re-Mi, which I love that whole sequence, but we had this joke about what if there was one kid that was a little slow, and he always, he wouldn't really follow in step, and I thought, oh my God, it's kind of like a zombie. And then
So if they all had lobotomies,
Yes.
the Do-Re-Mis is
Yes.
I like this.
Yeah. So
Now,
it's
I have-
not as,
I have one, just maybe, not even really a note, just another way to go.
Sure.
And so what I see
Well,
is
you
maybe
guys are the geniuses,
with
you
the
know, come on.
lobotomy, maybe Julie Andrews is able to do something with the kids that, it lobotomizes them, but also makes them kind of like killers. So they're like the Hills Have Eyes guys or something like that. So when the Nazis come, she sicks these feral
Kids on.
lobotomized kids.
I like,
Right. On the
I like
Nazis,
her
yeah.
having the lobotomized kids like live in the hills. Like they.
Yeah, she has a whistle and they come out of the hills.
Right. Yeah. Like, why don't we go for a hike? Governor. Why are you blowing? And then suddenly, like raptors, they just come out of
Well,
the
it's
hills.
funny she said, because the captain, the father, does start out with the whistle. Remember? Doot,
See?
doot, doot,
Yeah.
doot, doot.
See?
And then the kids come out and they march. So in a way, it's
They run out of the forest almost like
Yeah.
leopards or something.
Yeah,
I don't know why I picked
it's not as
leopards.
it's not as good as the Home Alone idea Sean had.
No,
but,
it's
there's
not,
a little
but-
there's a little kernel. There's a little kernel.
I like it. I like it.
And it's a musical.
Musicals are great.
Yes, they are, Matt. Yes, they are.
All right, John.
All right, it's interesting, Larry, that you picked a movie with a musical with Julie Andrews.
Yes.
Because I have one too.
No.
Yes.
She did another musical. I can't
did.
imagine
She
what
did.
it is.
Yeah. So in this particular film, it's George and Winifred Banks hire a new nanny for their children, Jane and Michael. And this is, of course, Mary Poppins.
Great movie.
Yes,
And to
yes.
think about that movie, the kind of supernatural, kind of magical aspect of Mary Poppins.
Right.
Where does she come from? Why is she doing this? Well, what if Mary Poppins was a witch and she had an agenda with these children? And that was she's basically going after little Mary's soul. She has to regenerate.
Larry just did a spit take, by the way.
So she has to kind of like lure the kids into like this, to love her and to like, just be pulled into her kind of world. And the chimney sweep, Bert, he's like Mary's familiar. He can, he's the Dick
And
character.
that's why he can't do an English accent.
Right, exactly.
He's actually a cat.
Yeah. So he's like a familiar kind of warlock who helps Mary along, and so Mary has to seduce this little girl so she can like take her over her soul. And the way she does this is like through music. And so she teaches her songs, and she teaches her the song Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. But she teaches her, now if you say this, learn how to say this word backwards. If you can properly say Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious backwards, it summons the devil.
Oh, it's like a Candyman thing.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what happens, and
Or like
she
Beetlejuice.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so like so it ends with like like maybe the father kind of rushes in to kind of like stop Mary at the last second, but you don't really know has she done it or not. And then like the little girl like hugs her daddy and gives her like an evil grin, her eyes turn red. The end.
They don't go fly a kite.
Well, they can fly. Yeah, she takes them. They fly kites.
They are
yeah.
the kites.
Yeah, she does all this magical stuff with them. So the kids like totally. The kids start like not listening to their parents. They just do whatever Mary Poppins says.
And does she seduce the dad too?
Of course, yeah. She seduces the dad. She causes the wife to have a horrible accident.
No, this guy, I would see like a sort of an Ingrid Pitt kind of
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right.
pseudo-lesbian
Yeah,
thing
that's true.
happening.
Exactly. That's better. Yeah.
That's so crazy. I don't know if you've seen the trailer, but that is the exact pitch of the new reboot with Emily Blunt. That's exactly,
I would see that then.
the direction they're going
That
in.
looks great,
Yeah,
though.
really.
She looks really great.
Does it?
No, I like Emily Blunt.
Well,
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Doesn't mean it's going to be a good movie, though.
Doesn't mean I need to see another Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
That's right.
I could
Well,
barely
you
get
bring
through
up
the
a good
first one.
point. Whoa. Slow down
That's
here.
a giant snore fest.
It is.
Mary Poppins?
It is. It takes a long time to get nowhere.
Oh, man.
guys.
As a kid, you're waiting for something to happen.
Yeah, my kids were bored with it. They were like,
Really?
this is a lot of adults talking about
Issues.
parenting
Yeah,
issues.
right.
And,
Yeah, right. Why do I care about? I don't want to make these kids nicer.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
listen.
there was
A lot of
witches,
stuff with
witches
the
and
bank. There's a
Satanism.
whole
Yes,
thing with
yeah,
the bank.
yes,
It's like
Tuppence,
kids
come
are
on.
like,
I was like-
put that money away.
Yeah,
It was like
Tuppence.
2 minutes of cartoon.
No,
Yeah,
it's more
that's
than
it.
2 minutes. And let me remind you, sir, that when that film came out, it's like it wasn't on television, buddy. It was a movie, and so they had to have that adult stuff
yeah,
in
we
there
were
because
locked in the theaters. I'm
with
sure.
your mom and dad.
Damn it! I
Your
paid
mom
for
and-
this. I'm going to
you're-
sit all the way through it.
No.
And it's long. It's like a 2.5.
It's-
That Feed the Birds song
They've got
goes
some-
on forever.
Yeah, they got some fun little tunes there.
I mean, Herbie Rides Again was more exciting, really.
You didn't
Herbie
like
Rides
the
Again
Let's
is
Go
awesome.
Fly a Kite? That's like
it's
a
okay.
heartwarming
It's just not- I mean,
supercalifragilistic.
It's definitely not the kind of movie I'd sit and watch today with awe. I mean, at the time, it wasn't the kind of
I didn't like it as a kid.
movie as a
either.
little kid that really grabbed me. I didn't hate it, but it was not. It's just not that magical to me.
Yeah, there's a woman who flies around with an umbrella. I'm like, wow. I've seen
See-
witches, man.
Okay, because
witches
you
are
guys,
cool.
listen, you guys are.
Besides shoving sugar down my throat, what is your power?
No.
I'm sitting like through an advertisement on how to take medicine.
I'm with
Thank you.
I'm with Larry on this. I will defend Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
Listen,
Come
this is from
on.
the man who also loves
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
frickin'
Which-
Bang
which-
Bang.
I
And
love
that
Chitty
is-
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
and that
Come
is-
on,
I'd
come on.
watch
If
Mary
that was a horror film, if that was like
I'd
The
watch
Car meets Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Like Killdozer meets Chitty Chitty Bang
Chitty
Bang.
Bang Bang.
That would be
is
cool.
Really boring.
No.
Really
no.
Look,
Come on.
All you're doing as a kid is like, when is the fucking car gonna fly?
Yeah.
You know, and when it does, you're like, that
Like,
was
yeah,
it.
two tiny little wings come out the side
Yeah.
of it, and you're like, that's going to kill everyone.
My
not good.
appreciation has everything to do with Dick Van Dyke, who I love, and the Sherman Brothers songs in both of those movies. I think I love those movies for those songs. I have an appreciation for them now more than I think I even did as a kid.
Really?
I like the
Because I was
song
going to say, when you were a
Flashdance. Doesn't
kid,
mean I admire the
Yeah, I don't want a
film.
whole movie based on it.
Wait, you didn't like Flashdance?
No, I didn't like Flashdance.
My God, why am I finding all this out now?
Who likes Flashdance?
I like Flashdance.
Really?
Wait a minute. I want to remind you, Flashdance was huge when it came out. It was big. It was the
cares?
MTV thing. You know,
With 16-year-old girls.
It was
Ernest made 7 films. Popularity has nothing to do with the creative process.
It was a very sexy film, and it was.
Oh,
it
wait
was
a minute. Hold on.
Come on.
Yeah,
I
the
think I've
dance.
solved this riddle.
Yeah, the dancing standing
Little Larry
was
made
really
an
sexy.
appearance.
Yeah.
Okay, this is great. Do we have another thing?
More water. More water.
Do we have another
More
film
water
title
on the
here?
lady.
Pour water.
Didn't Sean just do one? Okay, so
Yes,
there's
Regan, it's your turn.
Oh, I'm up. All right.
shitty bang bang.
Let's see.
It's a great
which
movie.
one
I
should
think
we
you
do?
just said shitty.
No, I did not.
Go ahead.
Okay. Benjamin Mee is getting over the death of his wife and decides to purchase an animal sanctuary on the outskirts of a small town for him and his children. Problem is that the former owner, a Dr. Livingston, kept more than animals in the cages. Benjamin and his family soon discover the horrific crossbreeding experiments that took place in the underground caverns of the seemingly innocent animal kingdom. And we just bought a zoo. How would that be? They buy a zoo, but then they find out that it wasn't that kind of zoo.
There's
So
like
they
a,
did
it's like an Island of Dr. Moreau kind
yeah,
of thing going
exactly.
on. Yeah.
We had tigers and humans and people with reptiles, and then they get unleashed.
I dub you
Nice.
with the title of Movie Fixer.
I don't know. I just thought that would. I also would like to see Matt Damon in something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Something a little more bloody and a little more.
Monsterish.
Do we really want to
Monstrous.
see Matt Damon in anything
I like.
anymore?
I like.
Yes,
There's a lot of Matt Damon.
I do like
around.
Damon.
The Martian. I
did like him in that.
Yeah.
As much
Yeah,
as I
he's
had
really
problems
good.
with that movie, I did like him.
Yeah.
So we bought the Island of Dr. Moreau.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's like a crossover. It's
Right,
great.
but yeah, you got all these cute animals. What if they weren't all so cute when the sun went
Right.
down?
That's
Classic.
cool.
So that's mine.
Nice.
I like
I
that.
like
You guys don't have to give notes because it's perfect as is.
Now I'm going to play the typical Hollywood suit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, good.
Does it have to be a zoo?
It could be a veterinarian's office. It could be.
Okay.
He's a veterinarian who's moved into a new practice in a small town. How about that? And we'll get Michael J. Fox out of retirement.
Hey,
Where was he the veterinarian? What was the movie?
Doc Hollywood.
Doc
Hollywood,
Hollywood,
right.
yes, where he was a plastic surgeon. Who then,
Yeah.
but he wasn't a veterinarian. He was just like a small town.
Yeah, small town doctor.
Yeah.
He had crashed or something, and so his fine was he had to stay there for like 30 days and be
crashed?
a
But
doctor.
you know, seriously,
Like his car?
Yeah. in that
But you
little
know,
town.
seriously though, like We Bought a Zoo or Doc Hollywood, I would love a movie that for the first 1/3 had that kind of tone. And then just
it just turns.
completely turned
Yeah.
and caught you
Yeah.
off guard. Like you thought this was a quaint little sweet film. And to go with that. But it seems like all
Right,
horror
right.
movies now have to be, there's some big scene at the beginning to show a kill, and then it's like that's things to come. But wouldn't it be?
Right.
I like that idea of like shocking a genre change, maybe halfway through.
The only movie off the top of my head that sounds like that is Something Wild. I think Jonathan Demme did
Yeah, a
it.
little bit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, kind
It's
of.
a good movie. I
Yeah,
like that
I like that
movie.
one.
Yeah, it gets
Yeah.
really dark.
Yeah.
Doesn't
It
start out
does. It
that
does
way.
start out.
Yeah.
But just a complete genre change. That would be kind of neat.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
I like it.
Weinhold?
So here we go. Stanley Kowalski and his wife Stella
Wonder what this is.
live in a cramped one-bedroom apartment in New Orleans, French Quarter. Their relationship is volatile, but relatively stable until they get a surprise visitor. After several years of zero contact, Blanche, Stella's sister, shows up at the door asking to stay. Blanche comes off strange and seductive, and her every action seems to pit Stanley against Stella. Stanley's friend Mitch meets Blanche and immediately falls in love with her. But after every date with Blanche, Mitch seems to get weaker and weaker. Stanley, fed up with the sickness Blanche seems to be spreading and her habit of sleeping all day, confronts her. He tries to rape her, but Blanche turns the tables and ends up raping him. Yeah, see, little twisty twist. Stanley is clearly shaken after this ordeal, and Stella notices that he has 2 bite marks on his neck, accompanied by lipstick. She throws him out for cheating. Stanley does some research and finds out that Blanche actually died years before. He goes to Mitch to share what he found out about Blanche, but Mitch reveals he has become a vampire. After a pitched battle, Stanley stakes Mitch with a pool cue, and he turns to dust. Stanley returns home covered in Mitch's blood and screams out to his wife from the street, "Stella!" Stella peers from an alley and gestures for Stanley to come to him. Stanley tries to explain everything that has happened, but Stella shushes him and lures him back into the alley, where we suddenly hear him scream once again, "Stella!" Cut to, police detective shows up at Stanley's home investigating Mitch's disappearance. He's interviewing Blanche, and she tells him that she thinks Stanley may have had something to do with it. He asks if she'll come down to the station for questioning. She replies, "Of course, but first, could you help me with something in the cellar?" He looks a little reluctant, and she says, "I've always depended on the kindness of strangers." And they go down into the basement. Credits roll.
Two things. One, do you have storyboards for this? I mean, this was the entire film. You really thought that
I
through.
really, it's funny when you start getting on this roll, it just keeps
It just
coming.
keeps coming to you.
But I think
Tennessee Weinhold.
Tennessee wine.
Wow.
And also, I wish the listeners could see how animated you were. Like you were into this. Your arms are gestating.
Yeah.
I mean, you are pitching
I'm
this.
there.
You're very passionate about this.
And I see it as
Even
like,
if I could sell this, to you guys, I know I've got a shot.
Yeah.
and I see it like as shot like in the 50s in black
Yes.
and white,
Black
stark
and
black and
white.
white.
Yeah.
I'm actually seeing it being made then.
Yeah, yeah.
But like Val Lewton
Yeah.
directed.
Yes, but I would
Or
say
producing it.
I would say that famous line has to be slightly altered, and that would be, "I've always depended on the blood of strangers."
A little too on the nose.
Yeah.
That's
A little
true.
too on the
Okay.
nose. Wow.
But this wouldn't
Way
be
to wreck
this,
it,
this wouldn't
Sheridan.
This wouldn't be a graphic movie. It would not. The violence, I think,
If
a lot
in
of it
the
would be
50s, yeah.
implied off screen.
Right.
Not a violent movie at
Yes.
all.
Yes.
Very much
Shadowy.
mood,
Yes.
shadow, performance. And again, if it were made back in the day, all the same actors. And man, just to see Mitch,
Carl Malden.
Carl Malden
Yeah, yeah.
as a vampire fighting Marlon Brando.
That would've
Come
been-
on, that's sweet.
That would have been nice.
That would have been sweet.
My money would have been on Carl.
And it would have been 3D
Yeah, with the height of the 3D.
3D.
with songs.
I like it.
Cool.
Nice.
Neat one, Matt.
Thank you.
Larry
We don't
Flick.
have to have these lulls, you know.
All right.
They're
I
going to
think,
edit them out in post.
No, it was very good. You guys are really creative.
I think I might stump the panel on this one.
Oh, is that a challenge? Okay.
An unhappy husband.
I know it.
An unhappy husband clandestinely slips experimental psychotropic drugs to his neurotic decorator wife. During a weekend in their affluent home in the Hamptons, the wife is tormented by monstrous hallucinations of their 3 daughters and their boyfriends.
He's turning the page.
This is a little long too.
And you know what? He actually wasn't even turning the page. It was all Foley. he was sitting next to a crackling fire. No.
Fearing
He's the worst Foley guy ever.
Horrible.
Fearing she's about to become one of them, she drowns herself in the ocean.
The piano?
No,
Is it the ghost of Mrs. Muir?
no,
A Star is Born.
no.
Drowns herself in the ocean. Psychotic
That's
drugs.
good.
That sounds more
Unhappy
classic,
husband.
like 60s.
Is it The Fugitive?
This might be a
Have
film.
Rocket Will Travel?
This might be a film only I saw.
Well, then,
Well, that's
okay.
Okay,
Quite
what's the point of that?
Yeah.
That only you saw?
Yeah.
Is this
Yeah.
one that
Is
you
it a movie
made
that you
yourself?
made? Yeah. So
Is this the Lawnmower Man?
Spec script. No. This is Interiors.
oh, for God's sake.
By way of David Cronenberg.
Wow.
I like it. You know what's funny? I was almost
Interior.
going to do Interiors
Oh.
because we have this running
Then you
gag.
decided you want to keep listeners?
We have this running story. James, in his youth,
in my youth, I scoffed at a Godzilla matinee because I wanted to go see Interiors on its premiere.
How old were you?
Horrible. 12.
13, 14.
Wow,
Yeah.
you were that kid.
Yeah,
Good
and
for you.
I thought to
Good for him.
No, good for him. If I was with his buddy, because I could say,
he was years ahead of his time. Years ahead of his time.
I loved Godzilla films at that time, and I imagine myself if I was friends with James, hey, let's go see this Godzilla movie. Godzilla vs. Megalon's coming out, and if he were to scoff at me, oh my, we'd be over.
But now years since I embraced Godzilla. I love it. But back then there was a period of a couple of years where I thought, I think this is sort of kid stuff. And it was brief. It was
you must have been so fun at parties.
Oh, and I still am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look at this.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. So I'm not sure if I ever got the actual end of this story. And so when you went and saw Interiors when you came out, did you like it?
I can't say. I don't know how much anybody could really like that movie.
No.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
It's a little artsy.
Yeah.
it's artsy.
That's what it is. It's so
pretentious.
obviously Alan trying to emulate
Ingmar Bergman.
So
It's like his homage.
Yeah,
but even more, it's like a
we have Bergman.
blatant
We don't need
clunky
this.
homage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a far from what you go see a Woody Allen movie for, and far from what he does best.
And it didn't ring true. Like it never rung true to me. Like it's like this is not like I felt that even Woody Allen didn't think
Right.
like
It's no
he
bananas.
was like behind it. Yeah,
I'm with you. I like the early funny ones.
Yeah, but
To quote Stardust Memories.
Yeah,
Right.
but it's
It was too studied.
Yeah, it was going too far that direction.
It's not to say that I don't like other films that came later, but
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah,
But,
okay.
But if Interiors happened to be a horror film, I think it would have been improved.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, even like that kind of shadowy, dark stuff that Bergman did with some of his
Oh yeah,
films.
if Alan had followed this plot, so it would have been like, whoa.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the movie where Woody Allen directed it? He's not in it, but they go back in time.
Midnight in Paris.
Yeah.
I couldn't get through that one.
I loved it.
Oh my God, that was.
That's
terrible.
one of the few he's done in the last decade
Yeah.
or two that I actually.
But
I've
you
not-
know,
I've not
I
seen
thought it was
one.
too.
that and Vicky Cristina, I think, are the last two he's done. They're good.
Yeah, I didn't. I just thought that one was a
Didn't
lot
care
of
for it?
showcase writing.
I did kind of like Shadows and Fog because that one
I
was
like
that,
that
was
one.
kind of like a Kafka-esque thing where he's like this.
I
Like,
thought it was different.
Yeah,
liked
I mean,
it.
it had like
He
a
hit his
strangler
prime
it.
in the middle. That's the wheelhouse is the middle of his career. Crimes and Misdemeanors, Hannah and Her Sisters,
Right.
Broadway Danny Rose, Purple Rose of
Like
Cairo.
Manhattan?
Manhattan started it. That's,
Well, Annie Hall
that's
really
coming out
started,
of all
yeah.
the silly ones,
Right,
the Sleeper
right.
and whatnot. So yeah, I mean those obviously are great. But I think Eve, as good as Manhattan and Annie Hall are, I think the stretch after that is his best.
Broadway
stuff. I think
Danny
all
Rose,
those
I
are
love
underrated.
Broadway
They're
Danny
so
Rose.
That's
underrated.
So
great.
great.
Yeah. No, I really love
My
that.
big problem with Midnight in Paris is you got Owen Wilson, who plays a self-described hack screenwriter from Pasadena, but he knows who all these cultural figures are from the turn of the century. It's like, wait a second.
The problem with Woody Allen is that somewhere along the line, he fell into the trap of stunt casting. And I don't know why he did that, because he had his company of players that he always used all those years. And then suddenly every film was like, it has to have Julia Roberts and
Right.
Kenneth Branagh and
And
this
Winona
guy.
Ryder
And everything was stunt casting.
I
all
love
of a
Tony
sudden.
Roberts.
Tony Roberts was
Great.
fantastic.
Yeah, and it's true, and I think every big actor and actress loves to do his movies too. You know, like I don't think nobody
I
turns
get
him
that,
down.
but
on it.
Madonna.
you think he'd be the last
Yeah.
guy who'd be like, it's got to be all names. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I
it's
don't-
true.
I would like to see if he did a horror film, what that would be. Real balls to the wall horror movie.
He did the murder mystery, and I thought it was fantastic.
I did like
it. Was like it was
that.
a murder mystery.
I
It was
liked
kind
it.
of
That was
suspenseful,
good.
but it
It
had
was
the
fun.
Woody Allen flavor.
I
to
like
it.
that
Actually,
movie.
Crimes and Misdemeanors probably, I would say, the closest
Closest.
to psychological
yeah.
horror.
Well,
Yeah.
Match Point.
But
Match
Manhattan-
Point
Yeah.
was Crimes and Misdemeanors without the humor.
Oh, okay. But
Wow.
like Manhattan Murder Mystery, I always thought I liked because it was as if Alvy Singer and Annie Hall stayed together
Yeah.
all that time, and then they fall into this little adventure. Yeah, I did like
It's
that
great
one.
that he pulled her back in for
So
one
for our
more.
listeners, I hope you
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
mind this little interlude of films of
so-
Woody
It's
Allen.
gonna be.
Allen.
It's gonna be edited. out.
No. You don't listen to the show much.
We finally did this.
I'm
for you,
loving
James.
this,
Yeah,
man.
that's
I'm in
right.
heaven right now.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm
What do
gonna.
you feel about Altman?
Yes.
Well, speaking of Altman,
Yeah.
let me shake things up a little bit.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. James might get this one right away.
All right.
Okay. So there's 4 friends get together to have a bachelor party type time in Vegas. And they go out to Vegas and they go up to a top of a building to toast as this one guy is going to get married.
Okay.
And they all take a toast and they all drink. And then the next thing they realize, they wake up in their suite and only 3 of them are there. And they all seem to be missing a limb. One's missing a hand. Oh my God! One's missing a foot. Oh God! One's missing an eye. Oh Jesus! In the middle of the floor is an amputated penis. Oh my God! That must belong to Doug. And the search is to find Doug, this man who was gonna get married. So what is this film?
I thought you were going to say it was Mike Tyson's penis in the middle of it.
No.
No,
I think.
I really like this.
Do you?
story.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's The Hangover.
Yeah, The Hangover.
Yeah.
Were their limbs cauterized? Had they been surgically
Or is it
removed?
just blood everywhere?
Well,
Like
Yeah.
a donor type thing, or are they bleeding out?
Yeah, they're have they been neatly,
Yeah.
That's how I see it. But you know, you guys.
So you think
guys,
someone has performed
performed
surgery?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, okay.
So it's
And
organ
yes,
donor theft.
Exactly.
And then there's the
But there's a
penis.
piece that's
So
just
it's
sitting
the
there.
hungover.
Yes.
He's here all week.
That's why you get the big bucks. No, but you know, I knew that you guys could come and fill in the blanks. You know, that was just
I like that,
kernel
though.
of an idea. But
Once again, I feel like you have saved the movie because
you didn't like that movie? That was just fun. You know, they made several of these films.
Yeah, I know,
They made
I
like
know.
Hangover
3.
2 and 3. Yes, 3.
yeah, and
Mr. Dog with a
not-
blog here knows how many. Come on.
Here's the thing: is I like Mr. Dog with a blog. Now, why did he turn on you all of a sudden?
The guy from the Disney show can know the quantity of Hangover films match. Surely you could have done some research.
To the mat.
Well, okay, it could have been a horror film. So there
It
you
should
go.
have been a horror film. Yeah.
I mean, there were some horrifying things in it, very scary moments. But I thought, well, what if you went that next step? You know.
I like that. That's a movie where I feel like they set up all the elements of what should be a funny movie, and it didn't come together. It was all very forced.
You know what's funny about that? See, maybe you should sit with your in-laws, okay? Because
Why do everything's contingent on? I gotta sit with your in-laws. I gotta hang out with a 12-year-old.
They're the litmus test for everything.
Listen. You know, my wife and I, we showed her folks, and they hadn't seen it. We warned them. There's a little adult humor in there, you know, and they're in their 80s. They were laughing.
They're like
They
the
were
Nielsen ratings for the movies.
Yeah,
They just, like, if
and,
they like
and
it,
they loved it. They were laughing through the whole thing, Matt.
They're come on. Old people are entertained by bubble machines. Come on.
Bubble machine.
Oh, now, in defense of bubble machines, though, because I just
You never thought you'd hear that ever, right?
No. You know, it's let me just say
like
one
in
thing.
Robot Monster. There's
Yes,
a bubble
no,
machine.
but also I remember working on this little short that I had to do, and they had this giant rolling bubble machine. And it was throwing out all these bubbles, like what's that show? The musical
Lawrence
show?
Welk.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so bubbles were going everywhere, and it was cool. It was neat. It was fascinating to watch.
For a minute or two, and then you got to get on with your life.
What do you have against bubbles? You don't like bubbles?
No, I'm not. To me, it's not an afternoon. Is all I'm saying.
It's not worth the trip.
No,
You're not worth the drive.
It's not worth the mental anguish.
All right. Well, I'm just saying, don't knock bubble machines.
I won't
Okay.
ever again.
All right. Well, I hope you like The Hangover.
I do.
Yes.
I like your hangover.
Did you like that?
I did. I
I like
actually
that. I
did.
like your idea.
I mean, it's
I,
not.
I actually liked the film too.
Okay.
I did
all
like the
right,
first.
good.
The second two were horrible.
I never saw the sequels.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Okay, Sean, back in your corner.
Okay, I have one here. This is a feel-good movie with a guy named Alan who's having a little trouble with his relationship. And one day he's out rowing in a boat and he falls in the water and almost drowns because he can't swim. But he's rescued by this mysterious girl. And she comes up on the shore and she's naked. And it's like, oh my God, who are you? Like, and she
Mom?
kind of goes away. She jumps back in the water. And for a second when she's going under, you see like a fishtail. It's like, oh my God, she's a
I know what this
mermaid.
is.
And so he like tracks her down, and you know when she's out of the water, she has legs. She's human. When she's in the water, she's a mermaid. And
Or vice
they
versa.
fall in love. He falls madly in love with her. But there's this scientist Dr. Kornbluth, played by Eugene Levy.
Okay.
Who,
So far, this is the exact film.
I know. I'm waiting for the twist.
I'm waiting.
Then John Candy shows up. Okay, we're
he's
with
got
you.
John Candy's friend.
You can't just recite
Eugene,
a movie.
Eugene Levy, the Dr. Kornbluth is saying, like, dude,
Everyone has a mustache.
he's after Ellen, saying, like, you got to stay away from her. She's dangerous. I've been doing some research on this creature, and she's dangerous. You don't want to be around her. And he's like, no, I love her, but then he starts to see that, like, she's getting really sick and she needs to eat. And she one day he's away, and, like, she comes home, and, like, the mailman's been horribly mutilated and torn apart.
Okay, all right.
And it's what it is she's, a mermaid is half woman, half fish. So she is half woman.
Tell me what a mermaid
And
is.
she's half woman and half shark.
Oh.
So she has the qualities of a shark. She has to eat or she'll die. And so Tom Hanks is horrified by this.
In this relationship,
Yeah, exactly.
dead half woman, half shark.
So it's like, but he's torn because he's so in love with her. It's kind of like a let the right one in kind of a situation.
Okay.
Where, like, he can't let her. He knows what horrible things she's doing. He starts like the guy in Feed Me, Seymour.
Little Shop of Horrors?
Little Shop of Horrors. He starts bringing people, like bringing a prostitute over for her to kill. And
Right.
It's like becomes this gruesome. Like, he can't stop it. Like, he can't help it because she also has this kind of like hypnotic effect on him. Like, she doesn't want to kill him. She loves him, but she has to eat. She has to survive.
And once
it's
she
like this
puckers all those
twisted-
gills,
Right. So it's like this twisted kind of like relationship where he has to supply bodies for her.
I have a couple of scenarios on here that are very similar to your story.
okay.
But this is from the classic film
Splash.
directed by Ron Howard,
Right.
and I love that movie.
Yeah.
That it's a shark. She's a.
But yeah, because
Can I just ask
what
one
kind of,
thing?
You never know what kind of a fish is a mermaid. If she's half
But
fish.
you
or whatever
bring up
she's-
a really good point. But does she have like a shark head?
Yeah, let's talk about making.
I mean, I
She's
wanna see-
Daryl Hannah from the waist up.
Okay, so she's still.
But like when she goes into like
Shark mode,
like a
the fin-
kind of comes out of her back.
Can we give this
She
an
like gets-
R rating
she-
and see tits this time? I
Yes,
really,
yes.
I mean,
Yes,
is
you
that-
can.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
okay.
Yes.
NC-17 even.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Well, I would-
But you would you do something with the face with the shark? I mean,
Well,
would
when
you-
she goes in the mode, she like her. Yeah, she like that kind of CGI.
like when
well, like in
when
Fright Night.
Blackula becomes Blackula.
yeah.
Or, no,
Yeah.
like in Fright Night. Remember?
teeth.
That's a great
Yeah.
scene with the teeth. See, that's what I would see. I want to see shark
the
teeth.
logo is like splash, but it's like a splash of blood.
That's good. I think maybe so far this might be the most sellable
Yeah.
because
Commercial.
Shark Week,
Shark
right?
Week,
That's
yeah,
true. That's true.
Sharknado,
Yeah.
everyone.
Right.
Sharks are big.
Yeah,
The
and then you
Meg,
throw
everything.
tits. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
Tits and blood. There you go.
it's kind of like a species, but
Yes.
in the
But
water.
Like that. Yeah,
Species
but
in the
species
water.
with like sex scenes and stuff.
And that could be the tagline. It's species in the water.
Yes. Exactly.
Wow, I
Nice.
like
There
that.
you go.
Okay.
It's good.
All right,
All
buddy.
right.
This one might. Well, should I skip it? No, I guess I'll go down the list. It's a little similar. Well, maybe not. Kumail is an Indian stand-up comic.
Oh no.
Got y'all ready?
Go ahead.
Who has a chance encounter with a young hipster named Emily. The two quickly fall in love, but there's just one problem. Emily is sick. Really sick. After being exposed to an alien strain of a virus from her domineering parents, it causes Emily to erupt in fits of rage and anger, where nothing can quench her thirst for flesh. Kumail must decide if this crazy homicidal white bitch is worth the time and effort. Does he stop her next deadly rampage, or does he finally put an end to the big sick?
I like that.
So it's a little scene like a
Yeah,
guy.
these themes are similar, like obsessive love.
Once again, movie fixer.
Yeah. So that makes it just a little more bearable.
Oh, I like
Just a
that.
little more bearable.
Nice.
It doesn't have to be such of a downer.
No.
But it starts
Right.
where it's like, she's coughing and maybe you should go get that checked. And
Yeah.
they do a CAT scan, an MRI, and you're like, oh, she's probably got. And it turns out, no, Ray Romano and Holly Hunter are fucking like alien scientists or something. And she's got a strain
Gene
of virus.
splicing
Yes.
and yes.
Yeah.
And this is an experimental daughter that they built, and this poor stand-up comic that we can relate to,
Just wanders into the middle of all
right?
this.
Loves her, but where do you draw the line?
Well, you
And
have
he's always on. He can't.
No matter what.
He can't turn it off. He just can't turn it off.
He can't turn it off. He can't.
you have it both ways. It's horror, but it's also a rom-com. It's a chick flick.
again, you got to walk that line a little
Everybody.
bit. Right.
You can take your 80-year-old grandparents.
Right.
You can take your 12-year-old.
I like this game where you turn it into the genre, but you leave a little flavor of what was
Right.
I like that too. I
Yeah.
do. I like that too.
That was a nice one. I like
Oh,
that.
Thank you. I'm just
Actually, all of yours, genius.
well, thank you. Please stop.
Wow.
Don't you think we could? Don't you think if you got him in a room with a couple of the suits, they could
He's already here. He showed up.
No. But it's like he can make his little pitch and he go, "I like it, kid. Let's do that film."
Yeah.
Don't you think?
I do.
I think Matt has a slide presentation for this next one.
I do. I hope you like shadow puppets because that's how this is going to be presented.
I love shadow puppets.
From as far back as Henry Hill could remember, he always wanted to be a Satanist.
That's on the poster. That's on the poster.
Henry, in this movie, describes his life from childhood to, as an adult, of his life on the inside of the satanic cult, where they are all trying to usher in the rise of the Antichrist. And so he's been part of this sort of underworld, trying to, affect the movers and shakers of the world to bring the Antichrist to prominence. Right. And everything is going great. I mean, the fact that he's involved with the Antichrist and the devil, and he's helping everybody out. He's got a great life. Great. Any kind of nightclub that he goes to, they put the table right in front. He's got all the ladies. I mean, he's got so much going on. But then things get a little too dangerous. Some of the nefarious deeds that he is involved with start to blow back on him, to the point where he finally decides he's got to get out. And that's when he's approached by angels. And the angels decide, hey, look, we know what you're doing. We're going to give you a shot to get out of all this. And you don't have to be damned, but you got to come over to our side and be an informant.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's what he does. And he gets all this information. And eventually he ends up bringing down the Antichrist temporarily. But they win this battle. And so now he's no longer damned, but now he's just some schmuck. Sure, he's, life is okay because now he's on the side of good, but it's far less exciting. And here he is in the Heavens Witness Protection Program, out in the fucking suburbs, just eating pasta with ketchup.
I like
that.
I like. What would Pesci be? What would be like his? What would
I think Pesci would be an actual demon.
he would be a straight.
Whereas
but he has to be like
Henry's-
the worst of the demons.
Yeah,
he has
no,
to be
he's-
the one that
he's-
they all talk about.
He is an actual demon, whereas I would say De Niro would be another human, and so is Henry Hill.
Right.
But Tommy is, and they call him Tommy, a demon named Tommy. Come on, that's
Tommy.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Tommy is nuts, and you never know what he's going to do. And he murders just for fun because he's a demon.
Yeah.
So anything that he can do to cause misery in somebody else's life,
Well,
he just acts on.
I like it because Goodfellas is kind of an epic tale. It's storytelling, and that's kind of like a Devil and Daniel Webster
mythic kind of
the
like,
devil went down to Georgia. It's like a mythical. The whole gangster thing is a mythical world. So just the whole world of Satan and the
Right.
angels against the ark.
And then Goodfellas has kind of like a double meaning.
yeah,
Sure, yeah. I like that.
Well, this would be Evil Fellas.
Once again, way to hit it too hard on the head. What is with this on the nose stuff? Goodfellas.
I like it.
I like that.
Would you change the cast?
I would not change the cast because I love that cast. I mean, part of what
Yeah, it's
makes that
pretty
movie
amazing
so
cast.
great is that cast.
It's a
Yeah.
perfect cast.
And Joe Pesci is a demon. and a demon who is even worse kind of than Tommy is.
Right.
And I would also recreate a scene where, and I haven't worked it all out, of course, but
Right.
so there's that scene where they're in the diner and the mob guy who just got out of prison comes in and he's like, "Get your shoe shine box."
Yeah.
That whole scene. I don't know if that guy would be a higher demon or maybe even an angel that comes in and thinks this guy's, it's a demon. Because they're, angels and demons I see in this world, their paths cross.
They intermingle.
Yeah.
Right.
And so the one thing you don't do is you don't kill an angel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
because they're like made.
Yeah.
And I do like the idea of like when they're young, like the young Henry Hill, like not sure which one of those paths you're going on yet.
Yes.
Like you hang out with some of those guys, but you still go to
Yeah.
church and see those guys. But
Right.
you haven't.
And the satanic world is so much more fun and exciting.
Yes.
It's so much more seductive.
Yeah. And everything is going his way for the longest time, but
Yeah.
then, the longer you're into it and the more that, the more the stakes get higher with the rise of the Antichrist, the more it's possible that maybe you could see some horrific things happening in your life.
Right.
Why did Pesci quit? Why did he stop?
That's a good question.
Is he living off is it 5 films? Is he living off the residual?
I know he does whatever. I know he's really rich.
From what? I mean, is Raging Bull,
Investments?
Goodfellas? I mean, I've done
Was
some
he
TV
rich?
and film. I get residual checks, and they're not that big.
you know,
Well, he's
maybe-
coming out with a movie in 2019, The Irishman.
Well,
Is he?
yeah,
He's in The
Mob-
Irishman.
yeah,
Look,
Mob
that's
Hitman, yeah.
Scorsese's
not everyone
Yeah.
lives as lavishly as you do on
Well,
your,
that's
your
true.
residuals.
No,
You
but
know,
I mean,
hey,
he just literally just said, screw it, and he stopped everything.
Home Alone 2 probably paid a lot.
He probably did. That's what's sad.
Yeah.
Sure paid more
Meanwhile,
on the first
Regan
one.
is sitting in his Komodo dragon chair.
Well, that's a
Dog
nice
of the vlog, man.
That's a nice
Good
one.
days.
Yeah. You guys
All
hurry
right,
up.
man.
I gotta get home and open that $1.25 residual check.
All right, man. What you got for us?
All right. So sometimes you don't have to make a lot of changes for it to be horror. Sometimes it's just
True.
all in the interpretation. A grotesque alien abandoned on Earth by his kind psychically manipulates a lonely child to help him. The boy is put through a series of harrowing events and a near-death experience until the alien abandons him, leaving him forever traumatized.
I love that
Mac-
because that is
Mac
you
and
say
me.
Mac and me, yeah. That's got to be it. No, I love that because you literally just read the actual plot of the film and it does sound like a horrific
That's true.
story. But then you go, no, this is one of the sweetest, most endearing.
It
It's a
is.
heartwarming
films of all time,
fantasy.
yeah.
It is.
I don't
mean,
know.
But when
come
you
on.
pitch
Who?
it like that, you're like, oh, geez.
It is all in your interpretation, I guess. I mean, who among us did not have a tear in his eye at the end of that movie?
Elliot was in therapy the rest of his life, I guarantee you.
Matt, there's no way you didn't cry the first time you saw
Did
E.T.
you did not cry at ET, did you?
I enjoyed it.
But you didn't get
didn't-
upset when he
when
died?
they give
And
Yes.
Elliot's crying
yes,
his head
it's
out,
crying.
hanging on the.
Yes.
Spoiler.
Let me put it to you this way: if E.T. didn't speak in that weird way,
Deborah Winger voice.
and right, yes, and ate kittens live, it'd be a different movie, right? But the fact he's like alien,
Hey, that's
and if he's
that's how that's aliens. That's how aliens talk. I mean, how you
That's
think?
how aliens talk?
Hey,
There's scientific proof of
Come on,
this.
come on. Wait a minute. No, wait a minute. No, Matt,
do you work for a studio?
Listen, Matt.
Who says
Matt,
something like
Matt,
that?
Matt, let me just ask you.
That's
so
like a
you
Martian
think,
wouldn't say that.
So you think an
That's right.
alien?
That's a great book,
You
by the
think
way.
an alien would go, "Oh, hello there. How are you today?"
I don't think that either.
I mean, come on.
I'm just
Well,
saying.
if they watched a lot of British films, yeah. They studied our culture.
Yeah.
if it were done in the round, then yes. Look. E.T. When I saw it as a kid, I loved it. For me, when I watch it now, it's just like it doesn't work the same.
You don't.
It
You
just
know
does
why?
not.
You know what? Because you don't like the
Whereas-
special
whereas-
edition. That's what it is.
No,
They added those few scenes.
No, I never,
they did.
I never said that.
No,
Whereas Extra always chokes me up every time I see it.
Extra is
Okay,
pretty
that is
amazing.
that is just twisted. That is.
I do love Extra. You
No,
ever
no,
seen
no,
it?
That's
no,
a
no.
great movie.
I remember the video box. I
Yeah,
never actually
no,
sat
no,
down and
no,
watched
no.
it.
A woman gives birth to a full-grown alien body. So how can you not like it?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's like somebody took a box of all the things that you like and just went, here's this one. But in no
Twisted
particular
clowns
order.
in it. It's
They
like
just-
weird
they
shit.
just
Doesn't
throw
make
them
any
at
sense.
you.
Who
Okay.
was anyone in it?
No, God, no.
It's an interesting the way
I think I was
It is
in
a cool movie.
the way the alien kind of crawls is very interesting.
Yes, nice
You
little
know?
puppets
Yeah, it's
and
cool.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
When
but
that's the selling point of watching an hour and a half film is the alien moves somewhat curiously.
well, you know why?
I-
you
that's
know
not
why?
really
Do you want
it.
me to give you a little secret? Do you want me to tell you a secret? you know,
Do you want to
I'm,
know
I'm
the
locked,
secret?
I'm locked in this room. I'm not going anywhere.
spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! You know, if you don't want to hear this, don't just turn this off.
I don't
want
wanna
to
hear it.
Okay, but
Are you literally doing a disclaimer
Okay,
for a
I am.
spoiler on
Yeah.
the movie
extra? Yeah.
Every episode.
Imagine if you will.
Okay,
you get,
cover
like-
your ears, listeners.
Okay, here we
He
go.
does spoilers for like Star Wars.
Right. Some people haven't seen it, you know. No, and your big thing is, oh, Jaws. Let's all talk about Jaws. You know, it's like some people haven't seen Jaws.
About a shark.
Okay, all right.
All right, so what was it about
No,
the
no, no,
extra
no, no. I'm
alien?
ready to move on now.
Oh,
no,
oh,
we're,
Now,
we-
now I want to know. What the
Nice
hell?
setup. I want to know this thing.
Yeah.
the guy. Okay, the costume. You know, the guy put it on the guy. Well, the guy, he's turned around and walks backwards on all
But
fours,
the alien
and the
face
head
is in the
like
back of
here.
his head.
So it looks like
it
he's
looks
got
really
fun-
weird.
Yeah,
It's cool.
Weird.
It's really
yeah.
clever.
Well,
That is
that
cool.
is kind of cool, actually.
All right, all right.
Yeah.
I'm still not going to see it. But
All right.
Give it
Winning
a
I'll
shot.
YouTube scenes from Extra and see if I can find the.
Well,
probably
I'm
will.
gonna,
That might be enough.
I'm going to
Yeah.
bring up something that you're going to love. And
Okay.
you're going to
Oh,
want to
all right.
watch this.
All
Okay.
right, here we
Speaking
go.
of something
Here we
that's heartwarming,
Okay.
imagine, if you will, a very intelligent dog escapes from a lab, a fiendish government lab. He escapes from the lab and runs for weeks. Finally comes to a little park and befriends these two kids. And these kids seem to love this little dog. Actually, he's kind of a medium-sized dog. And it seems like they say, hey, can you roll over and play? And the dog just does what they do. It's almost as if the dog can understand what they say. Oh my gosh, this dog is great. Hey, let's take this dog home. And the kids bring the dog home. They go, Mom, Dad, look, this dog can do all kinds of things. Look, bang, bang. And the dog lies down dead. Oh my God, roll over, little dog. And the dog rolls over. Oh my God, we've got to keep this dog. This dog seems so smart. Everyone loves this dog. And they make a little bed for the dog, and they're all happy, and then all of a sudden they all decide to go to sleep. Well, later that night, the dog gets up, and he commandeers the family's computer. He sets up a GoFundMe page.
Whoa.
And not only that, he starts to make deals and starts to do stuff on the internet, which is illegal, creating a very large fund because this dog has a secret plan to
Tread
take
lightly.
over the world. Late at night,
I hope the dad is hot.
the dog always does this late at night, and he commandeers one of the family's phones, and he beeps on the phone, and he tries to call some things about his account, and it's like 2 or 3 in the morning. Well, all of a sudden, he's talking on the phone, and the young girl in the family couldn't sleep, and she gets up and she sees a light on in the office, and she goes into the office. There is their dog on the phone talking, and she says, "Oh, Stan, I didn't know you could talk." The dog turns around and says, "I'm sorry you had to see that, Avery. Now I'll have to kill you all." Dog with a blog.
I like it. I like
Wow.
it.
All right. You have notes, though, I can tell.
I have a few notes.
Okay.
The dog was rescued from a pound, so you've obviously never watched an episode of the show.
Well, see, I was trying to shake it up a little
shake it
bit.
up a little bit.
You know,
all right,
I was
all right, we
trying
give him
to
that
shake
one.
it up.
Okay.
I would, continuing on your theme, I would like to see something that appears family friendly take a dark twist like that.
Okay.
What was, and I think they tried to do it with what was the Christmas one that just came out? Krampus.
Krampus.
Krampus. Where I like the idea of something that looks and feels like a family-oriented thing and then gets dark and twisted.
Right.
So I'm on board with you with that. I understand
Because
why
then-
you picked this particular subject.
Because then the
matter you
dog,
did.
dog could try and chase her. She could slam the door. Mom, Dad, the dog's
yeah.
in. And the dog, it can wreak havoc in the house.
So
now,
And no one
Cujo
believes the girl,
Right,
of
right.
course.
Was Cujo a scary movie, by the way?
I
It's
thought
better
so.
than you remember.
It's more
Yeah.
intense.
I don't
It's
rem-
more like intense, suspenseful. Than
I
it is.
liked it
Dee Wallace.
way
Were we
more.
really afraid of a Saint Bernard? Is
You
that-
know, you bring up a good point. But
Not
what
on-
they made
on
him
the
really
page.
Yeah.
they made him really ugly and gross and drooly.
Yeah.
You know, so I hear where you're going with that.
Right.
It's like having a little chihuahua. Oh, little chihuahua! But when those little chihuahuas can get mean and nasty and barking, if you imagine the chihuahua would jump at you like the rabbit from the Monty Python and the Holy Grail, if the
Right.
little chihuahua jumped at you and start to bite your neck, you go ah!
I can remember it was so long ago I saw it, but I remember there were scenes where they used the fake dog and something like with the
Yes.
dog ramming against the car,
Yeah.
and that
Right.
it wasn't a real dog, but it would look a little terrifying.
Yeah.
But then they would cut to shots of the real Saint Bernard.
Yeah.
And there would always be a moment where you're like, he just still kind of looks docile. Like, it's like they've got him manged up and whatnot, but you can tell his name is Skip or something, and his owner's off camera going, over here, look here.
I watched it years later, after
Yeah.
it was released, and I was surprised at how much it worked.
Yeah.
Because I found that the moments where the dog was kind of docile was a moment where the dog was taking a breather, because it has rabies, so it's crazy.
Right.
But there are moments of just calm that the dog's just trying to work out what's
Yeah.
happening to it, and I felt that stuff worked. Might not work for
Well,
and it's also-
look, let's be honest here, okay? I mean, you've been around a dog,
You know your way around dogs.
You were on set with this dog where
Yeah.
they're going to go, hey, Regan, over here, or a dog,
hours, sometimes
So
hours.
look,
Really?
and so since you've spent time with. Not circus animals, but performing animals. You've spent time with performing
Giraffe
animals.
with a flog.
No. So it's
Elephant-
like
lot of elephant work.
for us, it's like, hey, I don't hang out with a show
Right.
dog, so it's like I didn't look at Cujo and go, oh, he's trying to look over here.
Yeah.
I didn't see that, and I saw it with my wife. They did a lot of scenes in the car, and you saw D-Walt. They're always perspiring. It just seemed hot and nasty.
Right.
Even if the dog
Right.
had its moments of kind of cuteness, still, it's like if I get out of this car, the dog is going to come after us, and
Yeah.
it just seemed. I mean, it
Well,
was.
and a big part of the hook of when it's quiet is that the dog is driven crazy by sound. So whenever the phone rings or there's any other
Right,
sound,
right.
she knows that it's
Right.
going to go nuts.
Are we ready for a dog reboot? Is it time? I mean, with the exception of I think like maybe the ones in Resident Evil, there really hasn't been horrific dogs or a dog film, has there? Am I missing
Also,
one? or-
with personality as opposed to a pack. Because what was the one
There's
with
one called-
Liam Neeson that was the
that was wolves.
Wolves,
Yeah,
yeah.
the gray.
right.
The gray.
Right.
Yeah.
There's one
Oh,
called
hated that movie.
There's
It
one
was
called
not-
The Pack.
not
Oh, it was
in the
awful.
70s.
The pack. Well,
But that,
yeah,
again,
right.
that's
Back-
wolves.
yeah.
I mean, are we ready for?
But
Are we ready? Are we
dogs.
ready for another? Is it time for
I
another?
think
dog?
so, or
Maybe.
like
Horror
like a Benji. Oh,
Or a bit, not like a horror.
Benji
remember
gone
remember
bad.
Digby?
There's tons of every year. There's a dog's
There
purpose, or
is.
my dog Skip, or
Beverly
yeah.
Hills
Sure.
Chihuahua. Remember
the
that
army
one?
dog one from last year.
Yeah.
All
There's
dogs
always-
go to
all
hell.
do-
And now there's like three dog movies in theaters right now.
There's
Like
tons
as we
of 'em.
speak.
But are we ready
Crazy.
for a terror dog? Are we? Is it
I
time?
think so.
Maybe.
We're always ready for a
I feel
terror
like
dog.
we're due. We get a shark one every other week. We get
That's
piranha
true.
every 3 years. I mean,
Yeah.
there's always a polar bear. Or
When's there going to be Dog Week?
Right.
all the pit bull attacks over the last 10 years.
Well, I thought you'd like this one.
I do,
right?
I do.
Yeah, we
I-
turn
I
that. You
do
know,
but
like
it brings up good
does,
topics
it
about
does.
what
Yes.
I like when a family thing takes a switch and we
Yeah.
need more dogs eating people.
Stylistically, do you see this as in the beginning of it being presented as if it's a sitcom with a laugh track?
No, I don't see that. There's
Okay.
there's a scene in Natural Born Killers that I hated.
I do too.
And it's
yeah,
to
that
me,
scene.
it's like for some reason Oliver Stone decided it was Oliver Stone, right?
remember
That
that.
he
Yeah.
took that moment to where he was trying to make the sequence where the family
And he put a
meets,
laugh track in.
and it to me it didn't fit. It didn't make sense at all. Whatever. Well, it's kind of an insane movie. No, you didn't need that. I thought it was
I would
ridiculous.
say the
Might have
whole
been the
movie is pretty
Quirky.
It was very experimental. Yeah. it was just-
Tarantino quirky screenplay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's my 2 cents.
All right.
All right, Sean,
Okay. Here's one.
without dogs in it.
No dogs. It's New York City. 4 men hijack a subway.
Okay.
And they take the passengers hostage.
Okay.
And they're demanding, $1 million in ransom. And there's this lieutenant who has to kind of deal with them, and they're going to start shooting, passengers every, 10 minutes if they don't start seeing the money.
Right.
So it's just a standoff, with the police department, New York police, and these hijackers. But what there's also going on, there's been these kind of like disappearances in the subway. People have been disappearing. And the police finally kind of arranged for the money to be dropped with these criminals. The guys come down, they kind of meet them at the station. Somebody has a hair trigger and they shoot, it starts to be a gun battle. They're kind of stuck there in the subway tunnel. But what they don't see is that these other kind of in the shadows, there's kind of these other beings, these creatures who are emerging from the sound of the gun battle. And it's these cannibalistic kind of subhuman creatures from the tunnel.
Like raw meat kind of a thing, or
no, I see more like The Descent.
The Descent. Okay.
They're not quite human. They're like just subhuman creatures that have just been down there forever, but they started to come up recently from like the recent tunneling of a new subway
right.
line.
Sure. You've already got me. I'm already there.
And but with this gun battle now, and the train now doesn't work, so they're stuck there. So now like the cops who have come down to kind of like contend with the hijackers, they have to work together with the hijackers now, kind of reluctantly to fend off these creatures. So it's like cops and bad guys and hostages all kind of trying to work together to fight this like horde of these creatures.
Wow.
So you know what the movie is,
John
though,
Travolta,
right?
yeah, taking Pelham.
Taking Pelham, one of my favorite, not the sequel. Not the remake, but the original.
The sequel's not bad, by the way.
Or the remake.
The remake.
Really? Is it? I couldn't get myself to watch it.
I actually just watched it about a month or two ago.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
I love the original.
I love the fact that you're mixing the genres. Again, I love that. I love when a
like
film
action,
starts
crime.
like an action crime thing, and
Right.
suddenly zombies or Living
Creatures,
Dead or whatever,
right.
something changes the entire dynamic.
Right.
So
Still
I'm
like gritty
totally
action, kind of story, but then throwing like a horror element. And like not like supernatural. I see it that they're like biological creatures, they just whatever, some weird race of creatures have always been around.
Sure, like The Descent, where
Yeah,
it was
just-
somebody,
right.
there was
They're just these creatures.
people that were trapped in, a cavern hundreds of years
Subterranean,
ago, and
Right,
now
right.
they've evolved or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would say keep the same cast. Keep Walter Matthau, Robert Shaw, Martin Balsam, Hector Alonso. Keep them all.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know-
It'll be done in the 70s.
Yes.
There's a little kid on the train in that movie.
Yeah.
that you?
I went to junior high with that kid.
Right, really?
His name was Eric Ohanian, and that was like his big claim to fame. He was in that movie.
Nice.
Did he say, I was in that film?
Yeah, he did. Just like
Did he say it a lot?
he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Asshole.
How'd that go for him?
I think he did okay.
Well, in my version of the movie, though, he'd be killed.
Not in my school. Nobody likes success in my school.
So there you go.
Nice.
Okay.
Let's do this one. Charlie Sims can tell immediately that there is something not quite right about Colonel Frank Slade. Prone to fits of rage and not nearly as blind as he's letting on, Slade goes on several tirades about how the world isn't fair and how he'd love to take a flamethrower to the world. It isn't until Charlie detects an unusual odor in the Colonel's home that he discovers the secret that delves within his basement. The women he's kept there. Oh. You'll know a scent of a woman.
Nice.
Wow.
You have to keep Pacino in that.
Yeah.
in that
Oh,
same
yeah.
role.
Oh, my.
Woo-ha.
It's like a. I was thinking, kind of, what was the movie with a year or two ago? The guy who had the kids break into the house.
Oh, yeah.
And the guy's blind.
yeah.
And they find out that he's got women down in his basement. That he's it's like, don't make a sound, or not a trace, or
Yeah, right. It's like
something
it's
like
something
that.
like that. I can't.
Don't utter
blanking
no
on it.
utter a
Don't breathe?
Don't
That's
breathe.
it, that's it.
Don't
Don't
breathe.
breathe.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's this
That was fun.
Right.
Nice.
That was a creepy old
Yes.
guy who was keeping women in his basement. I was like, well, scent of a woman, creepy old blind guy.
Wow.
that should have been done 15 years ago with
That's
Pacino,
true.
right?
And that's what he does. He kills them, and he just sits in his little room and just goes. Make me a baby. Bubbing.
So again, mine are finished products. They need no notes. You can see the entire
there
film.
you go.
Like
But it
that.
was Don't Breathe was Ascent of a Woman as a horror film.
I would like to see him do more horror too.
Oh yeah, totally.
Pacino?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
he ever
Has he
done-
ever?
I want.
He played the
Devil's
devil.
Advocate.
Devil's Advocate
Right.
is-
Where he's like over the top. 'cause
Again,
it's
not a horror film.
Not really a horror film.
Suspense.
Only
film.
technically, yeah.
Yeah.
And
but,
a very horrific scene in Scarface, but not a horror film.
Not a
No.
horror
Right,
film.
right.
Yeah. So he's about due.
yeah, I
But
think he would-
Yeah,
what's his
totally.
name? I can't think of the actor's name. Stephen Lang was the actor in Don't Breathe.
good, really good.
Yeah. Although I still have issues with that movie. Like
I do, too.
There's still points where like throw a fucking chair at him and run.
But
like, come on.
you got to suspend it. It was
Yeah, I
it was
know.
done really well.
There were cool
I had
twists.
a lot of fun with that.
Yeah.
And somebody loved that concept
Okay.
and
Yeah.
followed it all the way
Right.
through.
So recast it, put Pacino and have him sniffing the women, and you got it.
All right. Well, this is about as soft and touchy-feely as I'm going to get.
Oh, I'm excited.
So there's a zombie apocalypse that's
Course.
hit Elizabethan England,
Okay.
virtually wiping out everybody. And the survivors include Queen Elizabeth and certain members of her court and guards and the playwright William Shakespeare. The group has holed up within the safety of the Tower of London. And aside from occasional zombie attacks, life there is pretty dull. But to pass time, Shakespeare just stares out of the tower and he just looks at the sea of zombies that are all just kind of, trying to crawl their way in. It's like an ocean of zombies. And one day he just notices one female blonde zombie who's caught in one of the fences that's keeping the zombies away. And he just watches her every day and he slowly begins to fall in love with her. He's so lonely and bored that he kind of develops kind of like this fantasy world. And he's watching this female zombie, and in his mind, he starts to write a new play. And the play kind of has elements of Romeo and Juliet, the doomed lovers, mixed with A Midsummer Night's Dream. So there's a little magical element, and he's doing all this, and he gets to this place where as he's writing this play, he can't differentiate between what's real and what's fantasy. He's kind of losing his mind.
Right.
And in the meantime, the queen wants to be entertained, and he has to, write things that the queen will like, but things are very tense, and it's kind of like dog eat dog within the tower. And as this is happening, though, he keeps going back to this girl. And the people in the tower decide, the queen decides that they are going to try to get rid of all these zombies, and they're going to do this thing where they're just going to burn them all. And he flips out because then that means his lady is going to die. So now he's lost it. He's completely lost it. So now he appeals to the father of the fairies, the king of the fairies, Oberon, to grant him a wish that the zombie plague is going to be lifted from his lady. And so what he does is he gets the sign from Oberon that it has been lifted. So he now starts to kill everybody in the tower and make his way outside into the sea of zombies. And so he's killing everyone, and he ends up, because the one thing they don't expect is anyone to be doing any kind of violence from within the tower. So he fights his way out. All the zombies are let in, wipe out everybody. He is able to get through this throng of zombies and find his way to his lady, who is now no longer a zombie, and he embraces her.
Wow.
And that's the end. But what we but what we don't know is this now still part of his fantasy?
You're gonna do that?
It's like Brazil.
You son
Yeah.
of a bitch.
It's
You're
King of
gonna do
Comedy.
that?
It's King of Comedy.
Yeah.
Wait, is that it?
You
That's King
might have
Kong?
lost me at that. I hate those.
You hate it when they do
I
that?
hate that.
Look, hey, I'm writing this for the people.
I'm just. I don't know. I don't like ambiguous, and I don't
You
like.
don't like ambiguous at all?
I don't like ambiguous, and I
Did
don't
you like King of Comedy?
I did like King of Comedy, but
That was in.
yeah. The end.
King of Comedy is
I thought it was
ambiguous.
clear.
Yeah.
No, it's not clear.
No, it's not.
Yeah, you're left
You're like-
The end
wondering.
of King of Comedy,
Yeah.
he has this. He gets out of jail. He has the
Yes,
show.
yes, I remember that.
That's
That's his mind.
they've set it up that is a fantasy.
That's
in
a
this game.
fantasy.
Whoa, wait! The show's a fantasy?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
He never gets his own talk show.
No way. And that the way everything works out, that he sells his book and he becomes,
Yeah.
we've all been set up within that film to know that every time he goes into one of these flights of fancy, he's having a dinner with Jerry.
I just
right.
realized that
Inception,
now.
La La Land,
Yeah.
anything. I just do not like ambiguous. I'm like, if you got a story,
Brazil?
No.
Wow.
No.
So
I don't
what
like
if
ambiguous.
the end then is that
I had no
that's
idea.
his fantasy, but then you see them both just biting into each other at the end.
I'm okay with that.
Credits
You have
roll.
to show.
Credits roll, and then Phil Collins song.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, I don't like that. And then it's like, well,
I'm not-
ending is whatever you wanted it to be. No, I want to know what the
Now,
ending.
sometimes
See,
I
I'm
like
with- I'm
the
with you
ending
there.
to be.
I'm with
whatever.
you
Then,
there.
then you
Right.
then you probably like the studio interfered ending of Brazil, which was that it really was a happy ending. Because didn't they do that? Wasn't that one of the
I gotta
alternate
be honest with
endings?
you, Brazil lost me a long way before the.
Oh,
the
okay.
end.
Oh, really?
So like there was a very happy ending to it, which
Yeah.
that was one version
I
of it.
admire Gilliam. I think Time Bandits is amazing.
Yeah.
I'll watch that 20 times
Yeah.
before I watch Brazil
Really?
again. It's
Okay.
just Brazil was a little too like, what is going on for me?
Right, okay.
Sometimes I like that.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
I gotta know what's going on. Yeah, you have me till
Well,
then.
we'll do 3 different
Let me-
cuts. We'll do like Blade Runner.
You know what's wrong with it being the real thing instead of going into the mind? You know what I mean?
but that could be the ending. It's up to you.
No,
If you would need an explanation
We don't
for
want.
why.
Look, read the book.
No, we.
Is it gonna be shot all in black and white and just she'll be in red like in Schindler's List? Is that too much? Is that too much? It's like every time he looks out, it's a sea of black and white, but the one zombie.
I want to bring back John Waters' Smell-O-Vision.
yeah.
Yeah.
So whenever it's her, you have to smell, and it's like rotting.
That would
Okay,
work with
that's-
Scent of a Woman.
That's
There you go.
Cross promotion.
Ross, yep. I smell a double feature.
all right. Well, can you? Is your feature going to follow this one then?
In the sense of zombies, yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right.
It's Vietnam, and Tom Berenger really hates Willem Dafoe. And he sees his chance in the jungle. He gets a clear shot. And he shoots him. But what he doesn't realize is that Dafoe has been smoking some very exotic local weed that has special properties and
That
enables
was kind of Rod Serling, the way he said it. Special properties.
submitted for your approval. So Dafoe comes back from the dead, and he's pissed. And not only that, but
drunk?
Well, with all it takes is one bite, and he can infect all these other soldiers, dead or alive, Viet Cong and U.S. troops. So he amasses an army of his own to come after Berenger. This movie takes on a whole afterlife of its own, and ultimately, it's a showdown. The Viet Cong and the U.S. troops who are still alive have to join forces to fight the zombie horde.
I like that.
Once again, the enemy and the supposed, well, in that war, who knows?
Two warring factions have to team up.
Yeah.
Wow.
I like that.
And the title, Marine Corps.
I like that.
I like that. You had. I was on the fence till the title, and now I'm in. Marine Corps. Even if that's not the story, I want to see a movie called
Yeah, that's
Marine
good.
Corps.
You got to get the asses in the seats.
That's right.
So there you go.
I like that.
Thank you.
Because you get like kind of just the gritty, like, war stuff, all the harrowing, battles and stuff mixed with like this horror.
The untold story.
So it's the title that does it?
It really is. It really is.
Shakespeare in Love?
Until that,
You had me. Shakespeare in Love with a Zombie. I'm in.
Well, that was a nice one. Nice
I
one,
like
James.
it, yes.
All right. Well, okay. So mine doesn't have zombies in it.
all right.
But getting back to musicals, Who doesn't like a good musical?
You and the musical.
Depends on the musical.
Me, to be honest with you.
Wait, you don't like musicals?
In general, no.
What? You didn't like La La Land?
No.
No, I hated La La Land.
Oh, come on.
Well,
No.
is that where the argument ends? One musical? It's like,
All right.
apparently, if you don't like La La Land,
Okay.
musicals?
I know.
Regan, imagine this.
Okay. All right.
So
Picture, if you will.
this takes place in, let's say, the late 1800s or early 1900s.
I'm out.
No. This is turn of the century.
If you say Emma Thompson's in this, I'm definitely out.
No, I didn't. I did not.
Okay,
But,
okay. All right.
I think it would be great to see this movie with the people who were the stars of the film. Okay.
All right.
So there's this woman who's known as a matchmaker, always setting people up,
Okay.
And there's this old crusty bachelor, and he's got a giant business that specializes with pitchforks and axes and all kinds of farming tools and stuff. And he says, I need to find a wife. I need to find a wife. And so this matchmaker thinks, hey, I think I might be good for you. But she does her job. She produces one after another a woman for this guy to like. Well, he seems to like each one of these, but for some reason, he meets them, and then all of a sudden, they get hacked to bits with an axe. One woman gets killed and hacked up with an axe. Oh my gosh, well, okay, well, we lost that one. Well, here's another woman for you. Hey, I really like this one. And she leaves, and all of a sudden, hacked up with an axe. Oh my gosh, this is another one. And then apparently several women get to meet this bachelor guy, but each one meets the same terrible ending of being hacked up with an axe. Well, little do we know that the matchmaker really loves this guy, and she admits to him, look, I want you for myself, and I've been hacking up these women because I have an axe. And he says, oh my gosh, you're the one I should marry. You're the one I love.
Is he a comic?
Because you know something, when I was married before, but I got rid of my first wife with an axe. And of course, I'm talking about the classic Hello, Dolly with Barbara Streisand and Walter Matthau.
Goodbye, Dolly. On the nose.
2 on the nose.
See, that works. No, that works. That works.
Yeah, this is like 3 Walter Matthau movies.
Well, I just thought, it was kind of cute. She,
Are we
What
keeping-
are the
we
musical
keeping-
numbers
Are we
like,
keeping
though?
the musical numbers?
Yeah, what are they like?
Oh, yeah, because that's the funny thing. The great thing is here's this great Hello, Dolly. She comes on in there, put on this big show. and
waving
everything's
an axe around.
Yeah, no.
He's just walking over bodies.
Dancing over them.
She doesn't kill them in the restaurant or anything. It's just that,
Okay.
she meets with them and or he meets with each of these women and he has a decent time and then they leave and then all of a sudden they're walking down the street and get hacked up by an axe. So
like
this
that.
way we're making Barbara Streisand an axe murderer.
Are you or anyone, are you Sweeney Todd fans? I mean,
I love
you
Sweeney
talk
Todd.
about a musical
Yeah,
that's
I
about
really like the movie a lot.
horror
Yeah, but see, that was a horror. It was already a horror film. So
Well, it was a
you
horror
know,
musical before
yeah.
it was a film. I'm
Yes,
saying.
Phantom
I really
of the,
enjoyed
Phantom
the
of the
film.
Opera. There's
Yeah,
another
me
one.
I think it's actually one of Burton's best.
I do too. It was a good because I went in kind of skeptical, like I don't know about this.
No, I enjoyed it.
Burton musical, but I thought it worked really well.
But if you're talking about horror musicals, I mean, I love Little Shop of Horrors. I love that.
Rocky Horror.
No, they don't like Rocky Horror.
Don't like Rocky Horror?
Well, no, I'm
A little
not
afraid
big
of the-
fan. It's not. It has nothing to do with me being afraid. Look, Regan. I'm one of these guys
Very
who
defensive all of a sudden.
Listen. But I know there are people. Oh, what's the matter with you? This is crazy. But it's like if
Larry,
you go
don't get
to
strung out.
Listen,
by the
if
way
you
I look.
if you go to a theater and it's packed, a midnight show,
Yeah.
and you've got people throwing toast and water,
Right.
you're kind of caught up in the whole thing.
Right.
That's not how I first saw it, my friend.
Right.
How I saw it was a theater with 3 people, and I'm watching this with a buddy of mine who was dying to get me to see it.
Yeah.
I'm like, this, and I love monsters. I was not a big fan of it, and
He couldn't get into it because there wasn't the mob.
Yeah, and so it's like there's
You
some
would have done really
Listen.
well in Nazi Germany.
That would have been it.
No,
right.
I know.
But there have been horror musicals, Sweeney Todd, and Phantom.
Phantom. I love Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
I would sing that all the time. I would do that all the time, but not. Is
that how it goes?
It's a genre that works sometimes. They did Jekyll and Hyde as a musical that did not work.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
Has anyone seen Carrie, you've seen Carrie,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
James-
so
I didn't
it
see
didn't work.
the musical. I did not see.
Did not work.
There was a
Didn't work.
Carrie
Yeah, that
musical.
bombed as well.
It's like sometimes you know
Right.
you have to come out if there's no tune that you're humming as you're leaving the theater, then it didn't work.
Right.
So
Right. I agree.
anyway, well, this has been great. This has been a
Yes,
lot
it
of
has.
fun. I think
Yes.
we brought up
Very
a lot
creative.
of really interesting things. Well, you guys are very creative. I mean, Regan,
we
you
are
are
too.
amazing,
Very creative.
amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I know the show is only so long. I have 37 more.
Oh,
Well, so do we.
Them all.
well, how about we do a lightning round then?
We'll do a last round where maybe do a couple. I don't know.
No.
Okay.
No. Okay. Oh, wow.
That's
All
too
right.
many. That's too many.
All right. Well, why
If
don't we
you
do
want to,
Well, you do one or two. Let's do them
Okay,
fast. Okay.
I'll do one to do another real quick one.
Okay.
All right. James Bond. His latest mission. He's trying to find out the disappearance of of American and Soviet spacecraft. They're disappearing. And he traces the whole thing to this dormant volcano in Japan, where Ernst Stavros Blofeld is masterminding this kind of war between the superpowers. He wants America to think the Russians are after the spacecraft and the Russians to think the Americans are after their spacecraft. So it'll cause a superpower war. So he confronts Blofeld in his huge, secret hideout headquarters, which is inside this dormant volcano in Japan. Mm-hmm. But all during this as it's been going on since he started building this secret headquarters, they've been hearing rumblings under the ground, like there's some weird freak earthquakes, something's going on. And as James Bond and the cavalry is down there fighting all of Blofeld's men.
cavalry.
Well, the Secret Service, James
Canadian
Bond
Mounties.
and,
Everyone's there.
Okay.
Canadian Mounties.
Ninjas.
Is this Blake Edwards?
It's the big battle. It's the big battle in Blofeld's headquarters. Out from the ground, out from the volcano comes Baragon. Baragon is a Japanese monster
Baragon.
from many of the Godzilla films.
I was with
basically-
you until this very moment.
So
John.
Baragon comes down, he's causing havoc. It's like, oh my gosh, so now they have to stop Baragon somehow. And luckily, Q has built this new sub for James Bond to go into because they know where Godzilla is. He's sleeping in the ocean off the coast of Japan. James Bond has to go into the sub and kind of wake him up. It's because he knows that Godzilla and Baragon are natural enemies. So Godzilla will fight Baragon and save the day. So it's Godzilla and James Bond versus Blofeld and Baragon.
Wow.
I hope Idris Elba really wants to play Bond because I apologize. Daniel Craig is never signing up for that shit. I'm telling you right now.
I think he just will.
Yeah, he may.
I have
the James Bond
I have
I
some
wanna
questions
see. Okay.
right off the bat.
Okay.
First of all, why
you high?
why Baragon?
Because Baragon is subterranean. He comes out of the ground.
He's got a point
And-
there.
Even I would knew that. But
Blofeld was building under that volcano, making all kinds of noise. He disturbed the sleep of Baragon. It couldn't be Garsaurus. He doesn't live under the ground, or Titanosaurus, or.
Well, why are you naming
It's
off all the
Baragon.
shittiest monsters? How about some good ones?
But they have to be underground dwellers, and that's what Baragon is.
well, all they need to be is underground when they first are discovered or awakened. So, you know how in Monster Zero, bear with me here. You know how in Monster Zero, Rodan is in the rock,
Well, he's
right?
in a cliff.
Okay, but he's in rock.
Yeah.
Because that's just where he happens to be. Because
Yeah, but why was
the
he
last
under rock?
movie, he got stuck in there.
Well,
okay.
he actually, in the original movie, they descended into a volcano.
Into a volcano, right.
Right.
So that's what I'm
Right.
saying is that it doesn't have to be...
Well, no, it doesn't have to be. But Baragon's a cool kaiju, though.
Well, also not to get too
Of all that you could choose from?
too deep nerd about it, but in Destroy All Monsters, Gorosaurus was subterranean because
But that was a mistake.
Yes.
But they called him Baragon.
Yeah.
So that was a mistake by the
Yeah,
studio.
yeah,
So there.
yeah.
All right.
And
Yeah.
also because I want to see Baragon fight Godzilla, which we've never seen.
See,
So
let me
there
explain
go.
to you.
So anyway.
Regan, Baragon, imagine
Wait a minute.
the cutest
Right.
puppy.
Wait a minute. Baragon does fight Godzilla in GMK.
GMK.
Oh, Jim K, that's true. He did.
how did you even get this fucking job? How did you?
Regan, Regan,
Sean, I've never been so ashamed of you.
I'm thinking.
No, don't try to get out of this.
This is 60s era because
nice try.
only lived twice is from the 60s.
Regan, I am so sorry.
there you go.
I don't know what to
there
say.
you go.
I will tell you this. I was in a theater not too long ago, and they did show the trailer for the new Godzilla movie that's coming out. I'm assuming you all have seen that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, during the trailer, there are at least 2 or 3 shadowy images.
Yes.
Or wings or serpent tails of some things.
Yep.
I did not know what they were, but there
do.
was at least 15 or 20 people in the theater who lost their shit.
Oh, yeah. No, we know what they are.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Rhododon, or or something. I was like, I did not.
Excuse me.
I'm just going.
There is no rhododon.
I'm just.
Listeners, if you think there's this is not Larry Strode. There is no rhododon.
Well, I'm just saying that. There might have been. Was Baragon? Is Baragon? Is he in the new?
Thankfully,
I don't
Baragon
think so,
is
no.
not.
What do you have against Baragon?
I think you're knocking on
Frankenstein
Baragon a
conquers
little
the
too
world.
much.
He's great.
Imagine like a
Frankenstein
Shih
conquers the world.
Tzu, but a monster version.
Okay.
That's
What?
cool.
A Shih Tzu? No, a Shih Tzu's fluffy. He's not fluffy.
He's kind of fluffy.
No,
He
he's
jumps, he
scaly. He's
breath.
scaly. Yes, he's got
cool.
the fin ears. Hey, that
Regan,
come on out.
I'll show you a picture after the show.
All right, I'll let you know.
Just agree with me now.
fuzzy.
Okay.
I'm already
Come
sensing
on,
it's
James
fuzzy.
Bond and Godzilla together.
No, that would be
That
awesome.
would be-
That would be
now
awesome.
I have one more
You've
question.
got all the Toho actresses already there.
Yeah.
No, that's great. I love
right?
that.
Right?
Akiko.
Wakabashi
Very
and
good.
Mihama. Right.
Miyahama,
You
yeah.
knew that, didn't
Yeah.
you?
But doesn't it kind
I've
of
worked with all of them.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work as a Bond movie though.
But I think it could. It's action sci-fi.
But you're taking all the
hot
impetus away
women
from
and the sports cars.
You're
and
taking the impetus away from Bond.
No,
and
Bond,
becomes
Bond
Godz-
would like think of a clever way to kind of like help Godzilla lure Baragon into something and explode it and something. It'd be cool.
no.
Hey, things be blowing up. And
Bond would divert one of Blofeld's missiles into one of the kaiju.
Yeah. It'd be cool.
All right, okay.
So there.
I'm seeing it.
Yeah. Matt's like, don't get me wrong. I'm in line.
Oh no, I'm
Friday
there.
night.
I am
but-
there. I just have some questions, and I think that you're going to answer them.
Okay.
Okay.
Here you go.
Do you have another one?
Okay, I'll do one really quick one.
Do it quick.
Quick, go.
Woodward
Faster.
Woodward and Bernstein investigate
Nope.
a burglary at the Democratic Committee headquarters. Not only do they uncover a Watergate conspiracy to sabotage the Democratic presidential campaign,
Right.
they also find out about a master plan to replace all high government officials with androids.
Ooh, so it's future world kind
Yeah,
of.
it's kind of future world meets all
I
the
like
presidents.
future world. Regan,
It's like a Westworld part of, was it Westworld type
Westworld
thing?
sequel.
Yeah,
actually
future
not completely terrible.
No, I like that movie. Yeah.
Was
So it's like-
Yul Brenner in it as well?
he had
briefly.
Yeah,
Briefly.
Yeah. So it's like a sci-fi conspiracy meets a Watergate conspiracy.
I like
Nice.
that.
Yeah.
I do
There
like
you go.
that.
That's
yes.
a cool one, Sean. I like those. Okay, nice job.
Are we on board with the HBO Westworld? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
I'm hit and miss.
Yeah.
I liked it.
I'm out. I'm out.
You were
No.
super
I
defending
like-
it before.
I'm out.
No, I liked the first season a lot. Second season, I'm having some
I could
problems.
have told you
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
None of
I
it
know.
works for me.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I would say instead of that, watch the show Humans.
Yes, Humans is great.
Really
I
good.
don't know that one.
Look it up.
Better and better.
Yes.
Is that a Marvel
Last
show?
Season,
No, it's
that's
it's
Inhumans.
it's
That's
AMC.
Inhumans.
AMC.
AMC.
It's a British show
made
that they imported.
Imported over.
Yeah, it's about basically synthetic humans living in our society, but it's done
Really well done.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, Regan.
There you go.
Last one?
Yep.
Okay. Mildred Hayes is convinced that she's getting messages from beyond the grave. And that message is kill anything and everything. But is this just a slow descent into madness, or is some spiritual force dictating her bloody massacre? One by one, the locals drop. The sheriff is set on fire. The antique shop owner impaled. And nobody has seen the local dentist. Is Mildred crazy, or is she really getting messages from the 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri?
Classic.
Way better
Nice.
than that movie.
Yes.
I never
And then,
saw that.
and then the people drive up and they go, "What do you think it says?" And she said, "I swear it said it. It said kill the dentist." And they're like, "But it just says, get a Tasty Freeze hot dog,
I
And of
like
course-
that a
and of
lot.
But every night she goes, she sees something different.
That's
on
And
the
of
great.
course, we're
billboard.
talking.
Cool idea.
great.
We're talking about that film with.
Yeah, the wannabe
Three,
McDormand.
Francis
three,
McDormand.
three billboards outside Ebbing,
Yeah.
Missouri.
And so you didn't like that?
No.
You know what?
Never saw it.
Till the end.
Till the end.
Till
They went after the murder.
Well, yeah.
Giant waste of time.
Wow.
No.
No?
Wow, Matt. Well, Matt, would
I
you
like
see?
your idea
Would you
better.
see my version?
Oh, I would run
Yeah.
to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
A
a
demonic
movie.
murder woman who may or may not be getting. It's almost a Twilight episode.
I'm almost mad at you right now, Regan Burns, that you didn't stop them from making the movie they
I
made.
should have.
But are you saying may or may not? Are you being ambiguous?
I am being ambiguous.
Oh.
At the end, there would
Physician, heal
be. At
thyself.
the end, there would be a scene that would let us know. There would be like.
Okay,
There would
okay.
be like. She'd be standing there and seeing something, and maybe like her daughter, or someone would be standing next to her, and her daughter would suddenly say what was on the billboard that she was seeing to say that
Oh.
And if it were
something like
made
that.
in 1965, the end would be on one of the billboards.
Oh, exactly.
Question
yeah.
mark.
Yep,
Totally.
with a question mark. It might be a Twilight Zone episode, but I still think it works
like
as a
it.
horror film.
That's cool. Nice.
Nice.
I'm out.
Okay, man.
All right, here we go. An insane, rich octogenarian forces her African-American driver at gunpoint to run down her perceived enemies in their limo.
This is the best one.
The
this
woman's
is
name
great.
is Daisy,
Oh, I love it.
and her driver is just traumatized by what's happening, kind of doesn't even really know what to do when this whole scenario starts. He just is like, oh my God, I got a gun to me. I'm going to do whatever she says. But then once she's killed off all of her so-called enemies around town, she then turns her sights towards his neighborhood.
Oh, this is so
Yeah.
timely.
Yeah. And that's when he's had enough.
Yeah.
The tables turn. He ends up escaping the car, finds his car, and
Which is a Lincoln Continental, I'm
of
sure.
course.
Yes.
and it's a battle on the highway between Daisy and her driver.
Nice.
I love that.
Of course.
It's a little bit dual.
Yes,
It's a little bit
dual.
misery.
Yes.
It's a timely with the,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
right,
we're
yeah.
talking about the classic Driving Miss
Miss
Daisy.
Daisy, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it still called Driving Miss Daisy?
Of course. No, it's perfect. It's
Yeah,
perfect.
you don't have to
Yeah,
change
totally.
the
You don't
title.
have to change anything about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You're done. You're green lit on that
Wow.
one. You're-
Okay.
I have no notes on that.
Yeah.
That's ready
you
for
could,
pre-production.
You could go into some really dark areas
Yeah.
there. That's
Let's get Taylor Hackford on that and let's make it.
Okay. Now I have a couple more. These are fast.
Okay.
One is, so there's a bunch of friends, been friends forever. They have this reunion. What you think is a reunion. Mm-hmm. They're getting together. They end up, somebody sleeps with the other person.
Is there a lot of Motown music?
There's a lot of Motown music. But what you find out is that this get together is really a nuclear bunker.
That's
And they're
very Twilight
surviving
Zone.
a nuclear winter.
Wow.
Oh, cool.
And it's called The Big Chill.
That's a Twilight Zone. I think that's very
Yeah.
much a Twilight
Yeah.
Zone
Yeah.
episode too.
The big kill.
Yes, yes.
No,
There
the
you go.
big chill. I like that. Well
I like it.
done.
I like the big
And then
chill.
the last one is this is what I really want to see on the screen, and that is it's ordinary people. Okay, the film Ordinary People.
Yes.
Right, right.
It's the same
Hilarious.
the same plot. Everything happens exactly the way Ordinary People.
Yes.
With there's
Mary Tyler Moore.
Mary
and-
Tyler Moore and what is it?
Donald Sutherland.
Sutherland,
Yeah.
Timothy Hunt.
Timothy Hunt.
And
Academy
you know,
Award
he's,
winning.
He's having his problems with the death of his brother,
Yeah.
and there's the
Judd Hirsch.
Yeah, and there's the
Doctor.
right, the psychologist scene,
Yeah.
and the
But
but in the midst of all this, Godzilla shows up.
no, I want.
Now, wait a minute.
I'd rather have. What did I say? Rhododendron or Rhododon? Rhododon. I think Rhododon would be better.
See, but what this teaches us is that are problems really that important?
Yes.
Because the minute Godzilla shows up,
In
everybody
comparison.
forgets about all their bullshit
Right, right.
psychobabble.
Puts things in perspective.
Yeah, and now they're just trying to survive Godzilla.
Wow, that's deep.
That
No,
works for
that's
every movie.
no, that's
actually.
deep, Matt.
It kind of works for every film.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
No, that is great. It's true.
yeah.
You know what you owe. You know your bills.
Fuck my
and,
dead brother. I want to live another day.
It works for every film. Ethan Hawke and Julie Delphi meet each other on a train and discover that they both love. And then Godzilla shows up. It works for every single film. Run! It works for every single film.
40 minutes of running. Ah!
Oh, Matt, that's great.
Magical.
I'd
Well
see
done.
that one.
All right.
Would Robert Redford direct this one?
I would let him direct anything.
All right.
And I have to follow that?
Yes, you do.
Pick your best.
Okay. 7 castaways
Ooh.
on a 3-hour tour get marooned on an uncharted isle, except they weren't really shipwrecked. It was all an elaborate ruse by a demented school gym teacher doing a sociology experiment. And they find out through loudspeakers that only the strongest will survive.
Hunger Games.
Well,
No.
Well, could be. And also a Japanese film,
Right.
Battle Royale.
Right.
They're given a sack, which each has a weapon.
Okay, well, that's Battle Royale.
And that's Battle Royale. And only one will survive.
I like it.
I thought this was
just
really-
one question: does Marianne still dress in the same little tight shorts?
Yeah.
Yeah, but at some point they get ripped off.
Okay, I'm in.
In
You
the
are
cat
a
fight with
genius.
Ginger.
Well, okay. Well,
Because this is, I mean, no holds barred. This is survival.
Can
All-
we agree? Does everyone agree that Marianne was the hot one?
yes.
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 Okay.
Absolutely.
I did a TV show with Don Wells. Years after Gilligan's Island.
Sure.
Still hot, right?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Didn't hold up quite as well.
Well,
Picture
she's
yourself
old. Come on.
as a randy 80-year-old.
Yeah. Okay. As a Randy 80-year-old, I would have tapped it in a second.
Thank
But
you.
Yes. Yeah. But it was a little weird to see someone that you had been obsessed with
Sure.
as a young
Sure.
person.
How do you think I feel
Super
about...
sweet, nice lady,
Yeah.
fantastic. But
That's
yeah,
great.
It's like,
Oh.
oh my God, we all get old.
I watched Game of Thrones. Diana Rigg.
She's still hot. She's still very hot, man.
I want to see that sex tape.
Yeah. I don't know what you're smoking, but you got to share.
Yeah, that was great. That was great.
That's
Yeah, I like
amazing.
that. Yeah.
You got some out there ideas.
That was lovely.
Is Sherwood Schwartz one of the producers on it? He has to be. Right.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, and I got to
And
follow
you have to keep the
that.
same music.
Take us home. Take us home.
Take us
Larry.
home,
Yeah.
Larry.
Not as dramatic as James. That's a really good one. But this is based on a film from 1951, kind of a classic 1950s happy-go-lucky film. Imagine
Musical?
No, it is not, my friend.
Okay.
Imagine, a upper middle class family. They're doing well and everything, and they just married off their daughter. They're happy. The dad's happy and excited, and the mom's happy and excited. And now they only have one kid in the house, and everything's fine. And then they're invited over to the kid's place now, his daughter who's just been married, to make a big announcement. Announcement is, I'm going to have a baby. Oh my gosh, everyone's so happy, everyone's thrilled, but this father he's upset. He's like, a baby? That means I'm going to be a grandfather. I can't be a grandfather now. And he tries to work out and try to make himself feel young, but oh gosh, the next day we got to, I feel old. Oh, so already he doesn't like this baby that's coming. Well, the baby comes, 9 months later. Everyone loves the baby. And he doesn't like the baby. He's like, I don't know about them. Oh, hey, Dad, hold the baby. Well, the baby's been going around and being held by everybody, okay?
Okay.
The baby gets to him, and the baby starts to cry. He's all, hands the baby off to someone. Baby stops crying. Oh, Dad, here, take the baby one more time. He takes the baby. Baby starts crying again. Oh, my gosh. He's like, this kid doesn't like me. I don't know why I don't. So he gives the baby back to his daughter, and he says, fine. That baby, he's made his choice, and I've made my choice. I'm not going to be fans of this baby or whatever. And what he doesn't realize is there's a reason why the baby doesn't like him. He likes everybody else. But it's because everyone's going along with what this baby wants, except for him, because this baby is the spawn of the devil. And I'm talking about the classic 1951 Spencer Tracy, Elizabeth Taylor, Joan Bennett movie, Father's Little Dividend.
Father's a little devil den.
Yeah! So what happens is what I wanted to tell you about the story is there's this great moment where every time he gets the baby cries, and he's given this assignment, Stanley, take the baby out in the stroller to the park or whatever. He takes the baby out in the stroller, and the baby's crying. Oh gosh, he sits under a tree, baby's crying. He sees a bunch of kids playing soccer, and all of a sudden the kids start getting in a fight. And he goes, hey kids, and he breaks them up and starts showing them how to play properly and kind of acts as a referee, and the kids are all, hey, thanks mister. And he was playing with these kids for a couple hours. He doesn't realize. He starts to walk away and realize, oh shoot, the baby, I left the baby behind, and he goes back and the stroller's gone. And so he flips out. So he runs to the local police department to say there's a baby that's missing. And so this policeman grills the guy, so how long were you away from this baby? And Stanley goes, oh my gosh, don't you understand? This baby's been missing. And he says, look, we found that baby about an hour and a half ago, and we were just waiting for the parents. So what are you? And he goes, well, I'm the grandfather. I go, well, we're going to call your dogs. No. I'll get in big trouble. And so the police officer would say, well, I don't know if we should give this baby back to you. All right, bring him in. Let's see what the baby does. And there's this moment where Spencer Tracy is so great. He comes on into the police station, and the baby turns and looks at him, and he goes, okay, little buddy, time to go. And the baby puts on a big smile and holds his arms out, and he's like, that's my... In this movie, he goes, come on, little buddy. The little baby turns around, and he says, that's the man that beat me. And the police all jump on him and start beating the hell out of him. So it's more
But they're
tragic.
not freaked out by the fact that the baby is talking.
Well, it's
Right.
it's the devil
right.
spawn. It's the,
So he kind of hexes them a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Was that movie a sequel?
Yeah. I had another
Father's
one.
Little Dividend was a sequel to
Father
something.
of the Bride.
Father of the
Oh,
Bride.
which
yeah.
is another great movie.
Yeah.
Spencer Tracy
he's just
was
terrific.
truly great
he
in
probably-
almost everything.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
What's funny is people don't realize that Spencer Tracy did a horror film.
Not my,
Yes,
not my favorite. Maybe my
Right.
least favorite
yeah,
Spencer
yeah.
Tracy
Yeah,
film.
but still, he dabbled in horror.
He tried.
So-
He gave it his best shot.
But mainly
but-
the main problem with that to me is because it's the least effective makeup where you don't realize that you're supposed to think, oh, who's that?
No,
It's not Dr. Jekyll, it's a
That's
whole other
true.
guy.
and the line between Jekyll and Hyde is not clear
whereas
enough.
the original Frederick March one, that makeup was so good.
Yeah,
You don't,
so
he's
great.
unrecognizable. You know,
Ever watch? Have you ever seen the original Frederick
with-
March?
Yeah, Dr. Jekyll and Mr.
Yeah,
Hyde. Yeah,
so
I've
good.
seen all of them.
So
no
great.
one's going to touch Russell Crowe. He's the penultimate. I mean, they're all good, but I think he pretty much is the...
talk
he's
about
the-
talk about
the
a missed
hierarchy.
opportunity there.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
telling
but you know what? This has been great. You have all. I'm really impressed because you all
you, Harry.
have tapped into some
I-
great
This
dark
worked out, right?
areas.
Crazy topic idea, but it kind of worked,
topics
right?
like this.
Yeah, yeah.
And we had the perfect guest. I gotta
Indeed.
say,
I love
Yeah.
guests
You went
like
all
this.
out.
Regan,
You typed up
you
your
typed up your
synopses
notes. You know,
here.
look,
Yeah,
we've had
you went
guests
all
who
out.
come and go,
That's
what do
not
I do?
typing.
What do I do?
That's
Yeah,
all
this-
calligraphy.
But you came prepared. You
Yeah,
got your
it was awesome.
shit down. I am so impressed. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for
called
having me.
being a professional.
Indeed.
That's right.
Yeah, and just because I don't really know who Baragon is, I think
do now.
I think I held my own on the topics in
absolutely.
general. All right,
course.
I've seen
down.
enough. I've got my inner
You have
been
seen
around.
enough.
monster
Inner
nerd.
nerd.
I
Yeah,
know. I
yeah.
know some stuff.
But
Yeah,
see, I knew you'd be great at this for many reasons because also just how much you love movies.
I do. I do.
totally.
I'll see anything. I really will. I mean, if I didn't have kids and had more time, I'd probably sit through almost everything out there. But yeah, I mean, I've seen most of what you guys have seen.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not the Japanese stuff. Like I was
go
with you
rant.
until he was like, "Well, Ishigara Baratama did not do the performance that I thought was really he really didn't reach the peak of his career." Until I was like, "Now I'm not with you." But I would say 98%.
Yes, you
We'll get you
held
on
your
board.
own.
I knew
absolutely.
exactly what you guys were talking about.
Right.
Yeah, it was a blast.
That was cool.
Absolutely.
Well, you were
Thanks for having me.
terrific. Now, is there anything you're working on that you want?
Yeah,
What would you like to plug?
Promotes.
Well, I just wrapped 2 independent films that will be out hopefully later this year. One is a family comedy called I'll Be Next Door for Christmas, and another one is a raunchy comedy called Donnie's Party.
Something for everybody.
So it's I have a very wide mass audience. And of course, please listen to my podcast, not in any way competitive with Monster Party.
No, a compliment.
It's a compliment, I would say.
Or Dog with a Blog.
Yeah. Well, you always see repeats of that if you get that'll be around for generations. But
Yes.
the podcast is called Critically Yours, Regan Burns. We break down everything in pop culture. We bring in celebrities, comics, everyday people to tell us their opinions on music, TV, film, whatever.
Awesome.
Play
A
fun
really
games.
fun show.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun with it. Played a lot of games, and it's on iTunes and Stitcher and Midroll and all those
Stitcher
apps.
and Clatcher and
Clatcher and it's
Macker
on
and-
all of them. So yeah, we're about 25 episodes deep, so we're not as veteran as you guys. We don't have this set quite as decorated. I hope somewhere there's pictures posted of this place because this is phenomenal.
Do you have T-shirts or hats?
We're working on coasters. If we can. When I saw you guys had Monster Party coaster, I was like, I've got to call my fucking producer the second this round.
Here, let me open a Monster Party parasol for you.
We are way behind on the podcast swag thing, so we're gonna up our game a little bit maybe in the second half of the year. But tune in and thanks. It was a lot of fun, guys.
Awesome.
Please come back again.
Please, anytime. Only when. This guy smoked a lot of weed, though.
He's pointing to James.
Yeah, James.
We all love James.
I love him too. Every film was like a Cronenberg wet dream. I loved it.
No,
Mr.
he's-
Weed, that's me.
That's right.
Yeah, it was a blast.
He's-
It was a blast, guys.
He's our show's Paragon.
Time for listener shout out. This review came in on iTunes
Oh my God.
Hey.
from John Ravensbottom.
Nice name. I love it.
Name.
John.
That's cool. I love that.
John
That's like a
Ravensbottom.
character
That's
name.
amazing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Maybe it might be a.
Is he a gentleman's gentleman?
It could be a nom de plume. I don't know.
Who knows?
He writes, "These guys are great. The conversation flows beautifully and oftentimes hilariously. The topics are always inspired. I can't say enough how fantastic the guests on the show can be.
That's true.
So funny, informed in their insights, and informative. Highly recommended. Long live Monster Party. The more they do this show, the better it gets. How is that even possible? James,
We make a lot of mistakes.
James, Matt, Larry, and Sean know their stuff. They run a first-class show and always remember to keep things fun. So grateful for this show. The shirts and hat are pretty sweet, too. I chuckle whenever I hear the word clown in any context, which can get awkward at times. Thanks, guys.
Sorry
Wow,
about that.
thanks, man.
Thank you, John. Thank you very much
was great.
for the
Thank you.
review.
Thank you.
Also-
although, why did he put your name first?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well, I guess he. Yeah, I don't know, but John,
Spit it out, James.
I don't know.
Natural leader.
Favoritism.
Maybe.
Also, a second shout out to Zach Cato from Lexington, Kentucky, who's a longtime listener, and,
Yes.
and we've probably done a shout out for Zach before, but
Let's do another
What the
one.
hell?
we're doing another one because he just bought a Monster Party T-shirt,
Cool.
Attaboy.
which you can find on our eBay store, Monster Party Store. Easy to remember.
Cool.
You can do something right for humanity.
Right.
Buy a Monster Party teaser.
And the Monster Party.
Do, re, mi, a, ti, re,
The Monster Party shirts and cap are endorsed by John Ravensbottom, so
Right. That's
That's
right.
all we
you're
need.
getting good product. Let's also remind our listeners you can find us on Facebook and YouTube at Monster Party TV. Our Twitter handle is at Monster Party HQ. Instagram also Monster Party HQ. If you're listening to us on iTunes, please, as John Ravensbottom did, please take a moment and write a review. We would love to hear from you, and who knows, we might read it on the show.
Yeah.
No, we will.
Especially if you put my name first.
But I also want to say, this is a great letter. But if you have something critical or you want to, say something to us,
We'll
hey,
read that
Then
too.
keep it to yourself.
No. See, Sean lives in a fantasy world. I want to
does,
know.
though. He
I
does.
want to know. I look. We're open. open to hearing other opinions. So
Yeah, let us know what
did
is
this
wrong
start,
with
Larry?
Larry.
I'm just saying, I'm happy to listen and have an open mind. So if you want to say, hey, can you do this or something like that? Or like the show but cut out this. Or, just let us know.
Okay.
All right.
I don't know if we'll do it, but
We probably won't read it on the show, but
well, you don't know that.
we might.
We'll read an edited version.
All right.
Don't you remember we had a
Hi,
listener?
Monster Party.
No.
Hi, love. Bye.
Remember we had a listener who wrote in things and said stuff about the three of you guys were funny. Do you remember that? Do you remember that part one?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Well, I also want to give thanks to a couple of our sponsors, like a Creature Feature. Yay! Creature Features now, as we talked about this before, they don't have a store, but they're still around. Go to their website, creaturefeatures.com. It'll give you all the information. They're still going to have screenings. They're still going to have signings, and they're selling a lot of stuff still on eBay. Go to their little tag there at C-Features, and it'll show a ton of stuff, models and books and signed CDs. They have all kinds of great stuff.
Little Baragon figures,
Yeah,
everything. You can
yes,
get
yes.
there. It's amazing.
Well, speaking of Baragon figures, I also want to give a special shout out to Time Tunnel Toys. Yay! Time Tunnel Toys, located at 1583 Meridian Avenue in San Jose, California. Joe and Sharon, they have a huge store filled with vintage toys, Godzilla stuff, and I've seen a Baragon there for sale.
That's right.
But they also have like black velvet paintings and records and comics, Star Wars figures, all kinds of stuff. Check out their website, Time Tunnel Toys. They'll also give information about their great toy collectible show that they have every 4 months.
That's right.
So you have to check that out.
Very
I
good.
will.
Please do.
On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I am Shawn Sheridan.
I am Larry Strothe.
I am James Gonis.
Keep America strong.
Make every film a horror film. It's what Baragon would want.
Baragon.
You talk way too much.
I'm sorry,
Do
yeah.
you just save it for the?
No, I do tend to
You sa- you
dominate.
save it?
I
Is that what
dominate the
happens?
conversation.
This is our major problem.
What?
Just so
Yeah.
to let you know, Regan, we're gonna
He's known on the show for his mugging.
Yeah.
we're gonna be taking some stills while we're doing stuff.
You do whatever
So
you
just-
need to do.
And the way
Yes.
those are
do I have
yours.
someone's cans or?
No, those are. I believe those are yours.
You don't need cans over there, Cal?
You got yours. You got yours.
All right.
So what's going to happen is Matt's going to do his little creepy greeting.
I do
Got
a
it.
creepy greeting.
We introduce ourselves.
Uh-huh.
We say what the topic is, and then he's going to introduce you. You're going to introduce
And then
him,
we
right?
assault
and then we're going
you,
to go
and
to
then
time.
shows
No. There's no assaulting. There's no assaulting.
Insult.
You can assault me all you want.
Dude, I'm here to honor you. You don't have to. I'll save my surprise.
That's the last time that he honors you.
You realize most of this stuff is lost value. You've taken it out of the box, right?
Oh.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
You realize you have
Thank
probably
you, Regan.
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Thousands of dollars. It's
So I buy it
away.
to resell it?
No.
No. You could put it in your package up on the shelf.
Here's what
My
you should have done.
package?
Here's what
Yes.
you should have done.
Tell me, Regan.
Tell him what he
Tell me what
should
I've been
have done.
doing wrong
I'm gonna
with
tell you
my
I'm
collection.
going to tell you exactly. And maybe you've done this, and there's another room
Sure.
somewhere.
Okay.
I don't know.
No, I got to hear this.
You should have bought 2 of everything.
Well, that's what he does.
One
Do you
is
listen
a
to the
display.
show? Do you listen to the show?
No, but I'm smart. I mean, I would.
So buy. So wait a minute.
He said he's smart. Did you hear him?
So buy 2, so I have to spend twice that amount of money.
No,
so I
one
have
is
these
an
things.
investment that will pay you in
Will it?
dividends
Yes.
later. Oh,
No.
yes.
Look-
And one is something that you can play with and show off and not worry if it gets smudged or the kid breaks it.
Yeah.
Kid?
Your life.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? See, you're talking from your twisted, weird world. In my world, I get to do whatever the fuck I want.
All
I
right.
get to touch my toys.
But Regan, I want to
Some
tell
of that
you.
Lost in Space shit, I
Yes.
guarantee would go.
Absolutely.
For what?
I'm
I'm gonna have an auction.
And do you
I'm
know
gonna have
what?
an auction on my deathbed.
No, buddy. I trained my parents early on. It's like, oh, you get Larry the Godzilla model. then one so he can keep in the package and one that
Yeah.
he can actually take out. So I got 2 of a lot of stuff. You know, that was like the regular thing.
I defy you to find the fortune built on action figures.
It's still early, and it's
So still early, yes.
Yes.
In 2,000 years, I'm sure a lot of this stuff will be
Well,
worth
you
it.
hand it down to? Oh, that's right. You know,
Hand it down.
Well,
Actually, in the 40-year-old virgin, he bought a house by selling his action
I know it's
figures.
complete. So
it's
you're
a
citing a
movie.
movie.
Okay, yeah, and
that
did
shitty
you-
collection,
It
by the
is.
way.
I agree with you. I've had people go, "Oh, Larry, you should see a
No
40-year-old
Aquaman
version."
is worth that much money.
No, and he's got a lot of the stuff he had was current to that time.
And the message behind that whole movie is terrible. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm finally happy. I got laid, and the wife made me get rid of all my stuff.
Yeah.
That is horrible. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
I mean, there were some funny moments in it, but yeah, I'm
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. But see, here's the thing, Regan, is that I collect toys
preached to
because
today.
I like
I know.
toys. I
Right.
play with them. I don't even if they break or something. That's life, man. You got to be Buddhist about this whole thing.
But here's the thing: 20 years from now, someone's going to walk into this room and go,
boy, he
"Holy
was
shit,
great while he was alive."
Is that a Denise Crosby Next Generation minifigure? And he'd be like, "Yeah." Oh my God! I'd give you $2,000 for that right now.
No,
and then
well-
he'll look at it and go, "No,
It's got cum all over
yeah,
it.
it's you have obviously whacked off on it several times."
So I would
$10.
buy 2 for one to open, the other one to come on.
Right,
Yes.
exactly. You need a Denise Crosby.
Yeah. No, do not
receptacle.
bring a fluorescent light in here. No black lights in this room because
Oh my God.
you will leave immediately.
Which genre would have the most spooge marks on it? Like, what section would it be? Is the most?
What hurts the most going in my ass? Probably most of the Godzilla toys.
Speaking of going in your ass, I got a colonoscopy yesterday.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
did.
Yeah. How'd that go? Did they put you out?
Well, you know when I went in.
Yeah.
Well,
I had one. Yeah.
when I went in, they were like, okay, they looked at the insurance and they were like, okay, your insurance covers light twilight, not anesthesia.
No, I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah, and I was like,
yeah.
oh, what do you mean? She goes, well, we can't put you, if you want to pay an extra $800, we'll
Yeah,
get an
no.
anesthesiologist in and they will knock you out
So
cold.
you weren't out all the way?
Well, that's what I said. I said, so what, light twilight? Am I unconscious? She goes, you're not really unconscious, but you're not going to remember or know anything.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
And that kind of freaked me out a little bit. Like, I remember shit, and it takes a lot of Valium just to lay me out. And so I said, well, I don't really want to pay $800 now. So I said, let's just go for this light twilight thing. And then,
Yeah.
they take you in the room and they roll you on the side, and there's like 5 people in there. I'm like, how many people does it take to shove a camera and a cord up my? But there's, and one guy's got like a welding mask. I shit you
sure.
not, like a welding mask thing on.
Yeah.
And they roll me over, and then he goes, "This is Debbie, your nurse. She's going to be giving you the Demerol and the stuff that,
Right,
that,
yeah.
that sedates you." And I was like, "Oh fuck, I'm not going to fall asleep during this." And I can already feel I'm like fidgeting with my butt. And she's
pain,
putting the
though?
thing in. She's putting the thing in, and I was like, "So should I count backwards or something?" And then I remember she was like, "No, you really don't have to."
Right.
And that was it. And
Yeah.
then I woke up, and I was in the
Unless you
waiting
get
room.
past life regression, there's no way
There's
you're going
no
to
way.
remember any of this.
Yeah. But they said I was awake.
Yeah. You're talking to them?
I didn't ask that, but I was like, was I out? And they were like, no, you were kind of in and out with us, but I have no recollection of it whatsoever.
So it's like anesthesia.
Yeah.
Or is it one of those things where like I go to a psychiatrist and like it's like regressed theory, like they'll bring it out, like now then I'll
hypnosis.
remember. And I'll
Right.
have
Yeah.
visions of
Yeah.
it.
Wait, when you're, you'll remember being taken aboard the alien ship and your colonoscopy.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad though. You've
Yeah.
had.
Yeah.
And also, it's not like they're like the tube. I'm assuming is greased.
I would hope.
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't
not
really-
like
we didn't really
they
get to
didn't
that.
pattern it after a cat's penis.
They lick it before sticking it in.
They give it a once over around. And,
Tui. Okay, here we go. So sometimes we always like to throw a little extra stuff at the end of our episodes. You don't mind if we use some of this little crazy banter?
No, you
Okay,
can talk
great.
about my ass.
Because
Is this like that's the bonus feature on the
it'll
DVD?
be the bonus.
Stick
You're-
around for
yeah.
Bonus
Regan's
ass.
ass talk.
for colonoscopy corner. All right.
Oh my
What the hell is this topic now? What are we doing?
Oh, great.
I just want to know.
What do you mean you just want to know? Isn't this your fucking concept?
Kind of, I guess. Yeah.
I did my homework. I have a
did some.
sheet.
I'm
I
sure
have
Should have been a horror
Look
film.
at that. Should
Okay.
have been a
And
horror film.
If I can make sure,
Horror
Regan, if I can
film
have
or
you,
horror
I'll
movie?
make sure
There
I'm
you
right
go.
here when
There
I
you go.
talk.
There you go. Thank you.
Okay, we should probably start this. Yes,
Let's go for it.
do it.
Are we going to live with levels? Good.
Level.
Everybody sounds
Level
good.
colonoscopy. Colonoscopy.
Colonoscopy.
Sound good.
Colonoscopy. Happy, my colonoscopy.
Good evening.
Good evening. Okay, shall we just get right into it?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess.
I love that you're holding your mic.
Well, because it's a little.
No, you don't have to explain. I just like the fact that you're holding it.
Yeah.
Just move your thing over.
Just Drew Carey this whole entire podcast.
And then I'm sure
Drew Carey. Do you know him?
I do.
Hey.
Yeah, I did the Drew Carey show.
he's a nice guy.
Super nice.
Yeah,
Super nice.
absolutely.
Let's get him on the show.
Let's get him.
I don't think he's not. He's not like. He doesn't like. He's not
Well,
Mr.
then fuck him.
Whoa. Hey. No.
When,
She's a
when
lovely
his
man.
show came to an end, it finally came to an end.
Yes.
Did you know the story about that?
No. When it came to the
When
show,
the Drew Carey show, the
And
show-
then before he went to the game show.
I can tell it later.
No. I want to know. I want to know now.
When the show came to an end, he told everybody, the crew, the cast, everyone, to come to Universal Studios. You know the story.
Yes.
Come to Universal Studios. I'm going to throw a party at the Hilton there, and just kind of like a going away thing. And he said, "Why don't you bring? I'm going to get a room for everybody at the Hilton that night. So
Wow.
bring some clothes, bring bathing suits and whatnot. And we'll just have he paid for the whole cast and crew to go there. They show up. He comes out, and everyone's standing there. He goes, fantastic 8 years or whatever it ran. Thank all of you so much. Are you guys ready to go? And they were like, go where? And he goes, I just booked all of us on a cruise, like a 10 day cruise around, I don't know, Hawaii or the Caribbean islands.
No
and
way.
just took them and said, your jobs have been covered. Everyone knows. Your family knows. We have stuff packed for you by so. He went
so
went-
great.
No
and just took
way.
everybody on like a week and a half cruise.
That is
Damn.
wonderful.
Greg Proops described a similar scenario with a bunch of the people from Who's Line, and he did the same kind of thing.
Proops. Oh, he did it.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the
yeah,
Same
yeah,
Who's
yeah.
Line?
Yeah.
Yeah, when Dog with a
great guy.
Blog was canceled,
Yes.
I got everybody a button. little appreciative button.
Who likes a good steamed
Yeah.
hot dog?
Everyone gather around
But they're from Pinks. They're from Pinks.
and check your name on the list because everyone gets one. We have a very limited, so make sure.
I've made name tags.
Oh, that's great.
All right, anyways.
Let's start this fucking thing.